Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Big Lee's Worlds podcast. Tonight, I have interviewed Miss Marley Knox via Skype. So, for those of you out there listening, if you do not know, Miss Marley Knox has become an internet sensation based off of her history and track record in the professional wrestling business. Also, as her internet persona is seen through many of her both social media and premium social media platforms as well. So this podcast was probably one of my favorites I've done just because it was a blast to laugh and talk with Marley as far as just the entertainment value, but not just that, but to kind of really dig down deep and kind of learn more of a history about her and things of that nature. Also, for those of you listening, to give you incentive to listen to the whole thing, I did a lot of people a favor, and I found out exactly what it would take in order to get a chance to date Marley Knox. So, if you're wanting a tip on how to do this, and instead of sending all your crazy DMs that's never going to work, listen to this podcast completely, and you will find out the tips and tricks on how to impress Miss Marley Knox. Also, just kind of gives you more of a background information with her and things like that. She talks about all of her history and what she's got coming up, including the Southern Sickness Cup, which we'll get into as well. So make sure that you pay attention to that, get your details, get the tickets for that. Also, make sure that you pay attention and get the details to when you can come see me with Scout Taylor Compton and professional wrestling legend Raven at Cape Fear Con, October the 19th, here at the Osage Center in Cape Girardeau. And with that being said, let's get to the interview. Show you how professional of a podcast this is, but nonetheless, tonight I have with me Miss Marley Knox. Welcome to the Big Lee's World podcast. Thanks for being a guest.
No problem.
So for those of y'all that are listening to this, we've been planning to start recording like a whole long time ago, and then we keep getting off on side topics, and we are finally getting this started here. So, have you ever done a podcast before?
No, this is my first podcast.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you here, and just kind of a thing to get this going on the right foot here. I did a podcast with somebody earlier on, and we had an issue where after it got recorded, posted, they were like, hey, probably shouldn't have said this and this and this on here. So I want to get this going, not just for the audience out there to kind of set the mood, set the mindset of where we're going with this,
And how
but
weird I
you
am.
personally. Okay, so is there anything that is off limits on this tonight?
Nope. Nope,
Okay.
I'm an open book.
So I feel like some people are going to be really excited, and I feel like some people are
Dreading their lives, shaking in their boots, pissing their pants.
Pretty much, yes.
Because I have a lot of stuff that I know.
So, you told me this the other day when we were planning to record, and of course my memory is not the best. So,
Yeah.
Are you planning to, is it spill tea or sip tea?
I'm going to spill that tea and then sip the tea that comes afterwards.
Okay, perfect. Because like when you told me that, I was thinking, I was like, okay, this is going to be really good. And then when I got off work today.
You know how I am when I get going about something. I get
No, I have no idea. That's why we're like an hour behind starting this. I have no idea. So it's like, I just couldn't remember. I was like, so is it sip tea, spill tea? So, like I told you earlier, I'm terrible with pop culture and references.
I've noticed.
So, I'm old. What do you expect?
You're not
It's almost
me.
We're recording this. It's almost 8 p.m. So, old folks like me, it's almost bedtime. So, we're going to get this started here. So, tell everybody that's listening to this, because I kind of have a broad range of, like, audience who've listened from just my goofy friends that want to support me, to the wrestling fans, to fans from the music side of the business, from where I worked in St. Louis with the metal promotion, and just a kind of all-around audience, even international audience. Shout out to the people that's listening in England and Argentina. I do look at the map of the locations to where people listen to the
Hi.
podcast, and people are listening to it in other countries, and it's like, I don't know how you found this podcast, but I appreciate you listening. I appreciate the support. So, Marley, tell everybody about yourself.
Well, I'm the little trash princess. Not little, little. You know, like,
Like Lil Scrappy, like the
yeah,
2000 rap.
yeah. And the whole thing with that, how that started out is, as we all know, anyone that's seen me, and if you haven't seen me, go look because you'll understand what I'm about to say. Um, I tend to apparently show too much of my butt and my body in general because if you got it, flaunt it. It's an asset. It
And if you're
sells.
interested in seeing that, we're going to talk later on about some links on how you can get access to that.
But the fans would start calling me trash or trashy or trailer trash, and I was like, if I'm gonna be the fucking trash, I'm gonna be the princess of the trash, and I'm a short person, little, so I'm like, I'm the little trash princess. Now try to use that against me.
I was going to say that's pretty nice compared to what I've heard some of the people call you. But
Oh,
we'll
let
get
me
into
tell
that
ya.
later in the
Let
story.
me tell you.
All right. So, kind of a little background there. So, how did you get started in the wrestling business, or the wrestling business, as I like to say?
Do we want to go as far back as when I started watching wrestling?
Yeah, we can go far back as you want here.
All right, I didn't know what you were interested in. All right. Well, like my first favorite ever guy wrestler was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and also Mick Foley, Mankind, Dude Love, Cactus Jack, whatever you want to call him. They were two of my favorites when I was a kid. And I was like, hey, you know what? I want to be like that. I want to do that because they're crazy and they're badass and tough.
So, you shaved your head.
No, I shaved
Oh,
both sides of my head before.
okay.
But, and then what really made me want to start wrestling was the first time I saw Lita. She was like the first person that was like, yeah, I have to do that. I was about 5 years old and I was like, yeah, I want to be like her. She's awesome. I'm going to be her, which I'm never going to be. But yeah, no, that's 5-year-old mind, you know. And then I was about, we're going to get into the tea spill in here soon. I was about 15, almost 16, and I went to a local promotion. Not going to name names of it because I am not giving them any put over because fuck that place. Except the one guy the couple guys I'm friends with there. Shout out to Joey O'Reilly.
Shout out to Joey O'Reilly.
And that's about it. And yeah, I went up there to a show with my older brother, and a big old group of his friends. And I was like, hey, they mentioned something about training. I was like, hey, I want to do that. You know, like, this is what I want to do. Why not? It's in my hometown. I don't have to go very far for it. I'm going to beg my parents. And it took me months, like at least a couple months to like, I want to do it. I want to do it, Mom. I want to do it, Mom. And after I whined and complained and bitched enough, like, this is what I want to do. And she's finally like, I know, obviously you want to do this, so let's go ahead and do it. And yeah, I started training there. And the guy that's the promoter there hates me. But now he hates me. But he likes to claim that I'm not a wrestler. I was never trained. But he didn't have anything to do with my training, and the only time he did was when there was not another girl there for him to flirt with. Because I'm a cousin. But the guys who took me under their wings and really helped me was Christian Rose first. He's like, because they were going to just put me with some girl who was also a trainee. Mm-hmm. And he comes over and grabs me and goes, she's not training you. I'm going to train you. And the very first move he ever taught me was a cravat. He put me in the move and says, this is a cravat.
Okay.
And that was how I met him. And he became one of the people I trained with. And then later on, Alex Castle started training with me. And then as an offshoot, because they were KYB, the Kentucky Buffet. Shout out to that team that used to be around. I think most people that would listen to this podcast would probably know them.
Okay, I was like, for a second there, I was just like, are we just going to shout out all the buffets in Kentucky? Because that's something I could definitely get behind.
No, the KYB is like, like Kentucky Buffet, KFC.
Oh, I know about a KFC buffet.
They carried a bucket, like a KFC bucket, out to the ring with them.
Did it have any chicken in it?
Sometimes, but it usually didn't make it out to the ring. But they started training me. Matt Cage helped me a lot. Let's just say something about Matt Cage. Me and him had a lot of back and forths when I was younger.
Oh, yeah?
I was a teenager. And I could be a bit of a pain sometimes. But all I can say about him is he was definitely a person that toughened me up. Like he made me a way tougher person than I could ever thought of being. And because he is a badass. He's crazy, but he's funny. And he retired, and then he recently, last year, beginning of this year, did a comeback match. And then he retired again. So the only person I trained with that's still wrestling is Christian Rose, which if you know him, I'm pretty sure everybody knows him, I'd hope. At least in the southern part of the Midwest area. And lost my train of thought.
Oh, trainees in the southern Midwest part of the Midwest territory.
But yeah, he's everywhere right now. But if you haven't heard of him, look him up. He's a really talented guy. Sarcastic, so.
And for those of y'all listening to this, wondering why she keeps saying look it up, it's because whenever she tells me about somebody, she automatically knows it's like, I have no idea who it is.
Yeah, he has no idea. He's like, who? I'm like, and then usually his response is, they do death matches? And he says, and I say, no. Then he goes, I don't know, probably don't know who they are. And then he'll look him up, go, yep, I don't know who they are. Look them up on Instagram, look them up on YouTube. Yeah.
Hey, at least that's the one thing people can say about me is I'm honest. I'm not one of the people to be like, oh yeah, I know this person. I've seen this. I'm just like, no, I got no idea who these people are.
Why pretend like you do? Because then they're gonna ask you something.
Right.
No, I don't know. Like with music.
Right. Well, I don't know. I could probably know
that you don't listen to.
Right. I was going to say, I probably know more about the music than I do the wrestlers, so. Or more obscure music than I do wrestlers, but that's another story for another day. Okay, so you got started training at this place that we're not going to say the name of.
Nope, not going to give them any credit.
So then over. Okay. Look at this, not already into it, and are we spilling the tea or are we sipping the tea?
We're spilling that tea. The hot boiling tea on the heads of my enemies.
All right, we are spilling the tea, the hot boiling tea. As long as
on the heads of my enemies.
On the heads of your enemies. As long as we don't spill my soda here, we'll be doing even better. Okay. So, we got the training. Now, where I first came in contact with you at was this nice random company in the randomest part of Illinois.
The randomest part of Buttfuck Egypt, Illinois.
Yes, you can say it that way. Crossville, Illinois. Strictly Insane Pro Wrestling.
Not spelled right, though, so if you're going to look that up, you got to spell it wrong.
Go through either one of our Instagrams, and I'm sure you'll find a tag post of something there. Or if you just look up Crossville, Illinois on Instagram, I'm sure it's probably like the only thing there.
That and meth heads.
And we'll get to that in a second.
And girls in little tiny shorts that are like 5 years old.
And demon kids that look like they'll eat your soul. But that's another story.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. God. There's children there.
Yes. So, and I mentioned Crossville because there was a brief time to where Strictly Insane was running in the next town over, or if you're coming from Cape, It's the town that you get to before you get to Crossville,
Mm-hmm.
which is Carmi. Which, shout out to Carmi. If you're ever there, hit up the Four Corners Buffet. It's the best place to eat in Carmi. It's probably the best place to eat in Southern Illinois.
There's choices in Carmi.
Yeah, I mean, you got that, or you got that Huck
McDonald's.
that's got the Godfather's Pizza, to where that rude old lady, or that rude, she wasn't old, she young, that rude young lady there who got upset that we came in there and asked to order a pizza. And I'm like, hey, I need to order this pizza. And she wanted to kill me because I wanted to order pizza. And I'm like, hey, you're working in the pizza section. You have a Godfather shirt on and a hat. And you came up to me and said, what can I get you? And then when I told you, you look like you was ready to stab me.
She's probably like, no.
What do you mean you want a pizza? And then I think she got more upset because her friends came in and she couldn't talk to her friends as much because she had to make the pizza.
She's like, no, we don't sell pizzas here. We sell hamburgers.
I didn't even know they sold hamburgers there.
I don't think that. I've never been there. I don't think they do.
Oh. Well, I don't recommend
Sarcasm.
going there.
That was sarcasm.
Oh. Because and then from there, you get to Crossville. And I will say that
two abandoned schools.
So I've always wondered if they actually have school there.
No, they don't.
Oh. And then they got this nice little corner station there before you get there, which had some nice people in it. They always are our pre-show stop to get a monster. Because, as everyone knows,
Gotta
Saturday
have a
night...
monster for those midnight long shows.
Oh, dear God. Because I was going to say, because everyone knows Saturday nights is made for pro wrestling and energy drinks. And if you're going to SNPW in Crossville, Illinois...
You need the energy drinks.
You need the energy drinks. And that's not a diss or a slam or anything like that. That's just giving you some real advice. Because that shows... That
Lots
shows...
of intermissions.
Every show there is like a WrestleMania. That thing's going to start at 7:30, and if you're lucky, it's over by midnight.
But we have good food, actual food, not just your hot dogs and your popcorn. We don't even have popcorn, I don't think.
I think I've only ate the food there once.
And we've got really freezing cold, not off-brand, name-brand sodas, which I partake in a lot. I don't really eat the food, but I partake in the sodas because I'm like, Joinks, free soda, I'm taking this.
You know,
or I do it behind their backs because they aren't paying attention to me. I just because I'm quiet, I just tiptoe behind them, grab a soda, and take off.
I will say this: there was a lady that was working in that concession stands one of the first times we went to Crossville.
Oh, but
one of the first times
down to her waist.
Do what?
Was she the one with her boobs down to her waist?
I don't think so. If it was, I wasn't paying attention. But she had a couple of bottles of soda in the cooler, in the ice thing there.
Uh-huh.
And then she was selling the cans, and I went up there and I was like, "We'll get something to drink." She's like, "What do you want?" I was like, "I'll take whatever them bottles are there." And she's like, "Oh, they're not for sale." And I was like, "Oh, okay, my bad. Let me go ahead and just get whatever can it was." And she's like, "You know what? You seem like a nice guy. Here, I'm going to go ahead and sell you one of them bottles." And I was like, "Thank you." So that's how you make a good impression with Big Lee. You make sure he has a good cold bottle drink there. Because,
you know what's even better if they sold energy drinks there? That shit would sell.
But most of the locals probably don't need it because they have meth.
Yeah, that's true. If you hear weird noises, it's my dog in the background sleeping. She's doing this noise in her sleep.
Probably I'm trying to sleep and you keep making this talking noise.
I'll put the phone closer to her.
So
I move and she wakes up.
Aw. Okay, so Strictly Insane Pro Wrestling. Let's set the vibe for these people before we really get into the history of it here.
All right.
So you go in, like you said, 2 abandoned schools.
Right across from each other.
Right across the street from each other. You really want to park in the parking lot across the street from it. You don't want to really park in the grass one there because it's harder to get in and out of.
And most of the wrestlers park there.
Right.
So, and the ones who are too fat to walk themselves.
Yeah, see, that's usually me and my buddy Shannon, but those parking spots are already taken. So we have to suffer and make the long, excruciating trip across the street.
Little, not even a block across the road.
Right, that's why they got them sodas at the front door waiting.
Yeah, Ice cold sodas.
Ice cold sodas and condiment bar.
Yeah, and lots of food.
Lots of food, because if you're not fat before you get there, you're fat when
You're
you
gonna
leave.
be fat when you leave.
Because it's in the air or something. So anyways, you walk in, you buy your ticket. You usually talk to Sam when he's there.
Our promoter, Sam
Yep.
Cosby. And that's another way which people can find us. You type in Sam Cosby and it takes that's the SMPW Facebook page, apparently. I don't know. We used to have a separate one, but now it's just Sam Cosby.
Yeah, it seems really weird because, once you get to 5,000, like, Facebook kind of cuts off you adding people, so it seems like it makes it harder to promote, but hey, that's just kind of my
Word of
thoughts.
mouth.
Yep, word of mouth. And that's what we do here at the Big Lee's World podcast, is we run our mouths and we talk about our experiences.
Yep. And spill that tea.
And spill that tea. And sip that Coca-Cola that is now lukewarm.
Ew, Coca-Cola? Yuck.
Yeah, I drank all the Dr. Pepper and I had Coca-Cola left in the fridge.
I was going to say, Dr. Pepper is king of the sodas.
That is true. And if you don't believe that, then you're wrong. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so...
You have your opinion, but you're wrong.
Exactly. So you walk in, you see all this stuff, you see the concession stand, then you walk in and you meet the locals. And don't get me wrong, it's a trip meeting the locals.
It is a trip. They want to touch you.
They do.
Breathe in your face. They're going to breathe in your face.
I have been offered multiple times dollars for a lap dance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's no joke.
They'll breathe in your face. The little kids will follow you around asking you, are you a wrestler? Are you a wrestler? And you're in your gear. Are you a wrestler? Are you a wrestler?
And you're like, nope. I just dressed this way out in public.
I had like 12 little kids surrounding me, and they were asking me if I was a wrestler. And I said, you know what? I'm not. I'm the devil. And I'm here to do the devil's work.
And they totally did not know where that came from.
And they were totally terrified.
See, I don't know. Some of them kids, I don't know if it's even able to terrify them, to say the least.
Well, they ran off.
Well, that's fair.
I think they might have been like kids that hadn't been there before.
And they probably didn't go back since.
Yeah, they have. I've seen them around. They don't leave me alone. Little kids don't leave me alone. I think it's the height.
You're like one and the same?
Yeah, I blend in a little bit.
They're like, oh, hey, this kid, she can wrestle, then I can wrestle too.
Let's talk about that. What happens? What happens on intermissions?
Well, what usually happens at intermission for SNPW when I go is that my buddy Shannon is still playing on his phone, playing Angry Birds, and I'm usually standing around there like, oh man, I need to go get me something to drink or I'm going to fall asleep.
One of these kids is going to break their neck.
Yes, because
I walk out there and there's like a ring full of children. Like there's not even like half an inch of space between the children in that ring.
Yes, and I know it sounds bad to say, but if one of them got hurt, I would probably laugh.
Same.
Because
I mean, there's a couple kids that I actually like, that they actually get it, so they're not like. Whether this is my most common question besides, are you a wrestler? Is, are you a good guy or a bad guy?
And you totally tell them a good guy, right?
I just look at them and go, what do you think? Watch me out there later and you'll find out.
Oh, they do, and they have no problems letting her know.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, a couple of my memories from going back to Strictly Insane, because like I said, they were in Carmi, and
I wasn't there for that. I was a teenager still when they were doing that, like a young kid.
Right. And then we went to one Crossville show when, at this time, we went because my buddy Psycho, rest in peace, he was there. Him and Del Chitty and all them. Well, wait, no, actually, I don't remember Del. I think Del was there.
My dude!
Yeah, shout out to Deadly Del Chitty.
He designs my shirts that are going to be coming out soon.
Ah, look at that.
I came up with the design, but he made it.
Look at that. Make sure you check out Digidel on Facebook. Make sure you holler at Del Chitty on all of his socials. I plan to have him on here one day.
That's gonna be. You think I'm a trip?
Oh, I've known Del for years.
Fun fact: when I first went to SNPW, I get there on the first show I worked there. Sam goes, "All right, I'm gonna take you in the locker room. We're gonna find somebody for you to work with," because I was getting basically stuck in the manager role, being the agitator. We walk back there, and he looks around and he goes, "Dudley Dale, Marley's gonna be your manager." And he looks at me, and we all know how Dale is. He looks me up and down and goes, "Oh hey." Oh, and he became one of my fast friends.
I love Del. Del's one of the best
My
people in this business you
Arkansas
could be.
friend.
Yep. Shout out to Arkansas.
He's one of those people. He's like one of the best people to drink beer with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember that goofy town he lives in Arkansas.
I can't remember either. I just know that people that he talks about Arkansas.
Oh yeah, I just seen his promo he cut.
Yeah, that was what I was getting into.
Which we'll get into here in a second with the Southern Sickness. But so let's finish up talking about these kids here, because there's a couple of kids like whenever you go to SNPW, you're gonna run into. One being this lady who brings a bunch of her kids with her, and one in a baby stroller who like looks like the kid's gonna eat your soul.
Big
like
Red Dinosaur?
Do what?
Big Red Dinosaur, the one that usually sits next to near where you sit?
Yes.
Big Red Dinosaur.
And not by choice.
Not by choice, no.
I always think it's a rib Sam pulls on me whenever, like, I get my seats reserved, and I always look where I'm at, and I'm always by, like, the weirdest people. And I'm like, this dude's trying to pull a rib on me. So you have that and all their bunch of kids, which I know it sounds, once again, it's going to sound terrible that I say this, but I was there the night that I laughed so hard because one of them little kids was not paying attention to what was going on.
Or the parents weren't paying attention to their children that they shouldn't have in the front row if they're going to run around like that.
Exactly. And this kid was like running around the ring, and one of the dudes was doing a spot where he was coming over the ropes, and he couldn't see the kid. And by the time he seen the kid, it was already too late, and he kicked the kid. And then I think that may have got the biggest pop of the night for me and my buddy Shannon. We're just like, best move of the night right there.
And they were pissed.
Dude, they were. Because, like, I remember, like, they were upset that they didn't stop the match because they'd already pulled their kid to the side and thought, like, everybody should stop.
Yep.
And then you have those, and then you have the kids that randomly are just running around throughout all the matches and had such great commentary. Like, still one of the memories that stands out to me is, I guess you were doing the managing thing, and this little kid come out of nowhere, like 8 or 9 years old, and like maybe two or three rows back from where we were, just like looks at you and just calls you a whore.
Yep, that's a common occurrence.
And it's like, I don't know if it was more shocking that this little kid called you a whore, knew what a whore was, or the fact that like people were cheering that he called you this.
I have little kids getting in my face, flipping me off, saying, you fucking whore, you fucking whore. And I'm like, did your mama teach you to speak like that?
Maybe they heard their daddy calling their mama.
Oh, well, that's true too.
At the family reunion.
Welcome to the Southern Illinois and the Midwest.
True that. So how'd you get started in SNPW now that people have a great knowledge of what it's like there?
Like I said, I managed Dale, and then oh my god, my memory lapses on that because I was just like, I blocked that whole big clusterfuck out after Dale quit coming for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because I worked with a group of people that we will not name because It's like you say their name 3 times, they appear, and I don't want anything to do with them again.
Okay.
They're that horrible. Like, if you've seen what is it called, TSW in Vincennes, Indiana?
Uh-uh.
They're there. It's a father and son, and the guy's wife, maybe wife, I don't know, but they wear the same orange jumpsuits all the time. I don't know if they get washed, but they have like DOC on the back and in permanent marker. And the kicker is the manager's name. She's like wrinkly, overly made up, disgusting. Think she's way younger than she is.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Misbehaving.
Misbehaving.
No, not misbehaving. Misbehaving.
Misbehaving.
Yes.
Oh man, misbehaving.
Yeah.
I feel like my buddy Mikey Cox, that used to work at the Lovely Pony establishment here over in East Cape. I feel like he booked a talent once named Misbehaving. Probably looked the same too.
Maybe.
Okay, so we get past that part. We'll get past the knockoff jumpsuit people. So what is your next step with SMPW?
Well, I left for a while because personal stuff with them that they got me fired. Because, that's how it is when you're like a kiss ass, I guess. But anyway, this was like a year or so back on, and after that, and I'm like, I get contacted by a certain someone to come. I started going back because I was friends with one of the dudes, and we were hanging out. And then Sam decides, hey, you want to come back? And I say, sure. Give me something good to do, and sure. And then I go home, and he's like, oh, yeah, you can come back and work with the guys you were working with before you left. Not them, but there's another group I was working with because, like, get the most out of having a manager. Don't let them have a actual, like, set person they work with and click with. Right. Let's put them out there with 4 or 5 matches. And then I get a message from a certain someone saying, hey, you want to work with me instead if I can talk Sam into it? And you know who that somebody is?
Who is that certain somebody?
You know the certain somebody.
Oh, wait, I thought we was doing like some kind of big reveal here or something.
No.
I was just waiting. I was like, okay, the certain somebody. Okay, who is the certain somebody?
Cash Borden.
Cash Borden. I know a Cash Borden.
I think we all know Cash Borden. Which, fun fact, how we're talking about that company we won't talk about because I'm not going to give them any pop over. That's where I met Joey O'Reilly.
Uh-huh.
And that's where I met Cash Borden.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't really like with him, but we didn't dislike each other.
Right.
He was kind of like the sit in a corner and don't talk to me kind of person, but I'd go hide behind him when one of the guys I used to date when I was like 16 would try to mess with, would run around naked, and I'd be like, fuck this shit, and I'd go hide behind him. Like, crouch down behind his chair, hide behind him. Or him or Blake Reed, because Blake Reed would kill him if he came anywhere near him. Blake Reed's a big dude, if you haven't heard of him.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I'd crouch behind him and hide, and he'd be like, he'd just cross his arms and just give him a dirty look if he came anywhere near him. But that's where I met Cash.
Okay.
Fun fact. But yeah, he contacts me and says, hey, will you want to work with me instead? And I was like, that's random, but yeah, let's do that. Best thing I've been offered, at SMPW. And then comes how we debut as a group together. And I became Marley Knox. He's Cash Borden, like Lizzie Borden, and I'm Marley Knox, like Mickey and Mallory Knox from Natural Born Killers.
Mm-hmm.
And goes together, killers, or alleged killers. And we debut, and our whole thing was at first, we were step-siblings. No, we were siblings, sorry. Half-siblings who have a mom in common. which happens to be my own mother, my
So
real mother.
I was gonna say, can we shout her out before I
Shout out to my mama.
shout out to Terry with an I? Just
Yeah,
a complete side note to everything. That's how I was introduced to Terry. It's not Terry, it's Terry with an I.
Yeah, that was when I came down to Kate. Just like I was making a surprise visit to a certain person that we will not discuss then too.
Let's just tell everybody the surprise person. You just came to come hang out with me. That tends to make things a whole lot easier.
That's what I ended up doing most of the time. And getting stared at longingly. Like, oh, I want to touch your hair. And oh, I've got to hold on to you. You remember this, don't you?
Yeah. You were like, I want to touch your hair. And I was like, I'm bald. I don't get what you want to touch my hair for.
No. You know what I'm talking about, you butt.
Yes, I do know.
Yeah, you know how awkward that was.
Yep, you were getting stared at to touch your hair, and I was getting stared at. I was staring at the door, making sure nobody tried to come in for free.
And you're also thinking, what the hell is why this kid's like totally blowing it?
Yeah, we're not gonna talk. We're not gonna talk about that one. That's another story for another day.
Well, we can add on the fact that. So I get there, and I'm just like, didn't tell him because I thought,
And made me promise, like, don't tell him.
Yes, I did. I told you I was going to be there because I was like, I don't want to scare Lee half to death, give him a heart attack. What's Marley doing here? Because that'd be a little bit much. But I also wanted someone that I could just like cling on to as soon as I walked in, because wrestling fans are kind of creepy sometimes, and some of them know who I am and they'll like attack me.
So, how do I tell this story? There's a story. There's a part of this story. Let me say the right way to say this. I'll say it this way. Through one way or another, it came out that you were there.
Yes.
And via, let's just say, a social media post. And when that got out, I got a few messages of people that were upset that you were there and they did not get to meet you.
because they like the bow day.
They found they seen your social media post, which we'll get to. And they were very upset that they did not get to meet you. And they were very upset that I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them. But to my defense, it's not my job to tell when people are there.
Exactly.
And two, if they would have been at the show, they would have known anyways.
Yeah, they would have seen me. I'm hard to miss. I have ginger hair.
So
and piercings.
That tells you something right there. Always come out to a Cape Championship Wrestling show, because you just never know who will be there.
Maybe me.
You never know who will be there. But
anyway, I get there and I'm like, you think surprises are a good thing, right?
50-50.
Like surprises.
And apparently this was on the 50 on the bad side.
This was I gave this boy, I'm going to call him a boy because he's basically he's a grown adult, but he's a man-child, is a nice way of putting it. And like he comes out and he didn't like comes out doing his thing, to walking around, and then he sees me. What does he do? Freezes. He freezes in his place. Doesn't come up and talk to me, does he?
Yeah, that's...
Now, at first, he freezes, stares at me, and then walks back into the concession area. And I'm like, what the hell? Am I that intimidating?
But this is not the first awkward experience I've had dealing with Marley and the apple of Marley's eye. But we'll get to that story in a second.
The apple of my eye, I wouldn't go that far. I'm the apple of their eye.
Okay. Well, somebody's an apple of somebody's eye.
Yeah.
So, back to SMPW though. So, you go back there, you start with Tell us about Start with Cash.
Well, when we first started the whole thing, like I said, we started and did the shout out to Mama Terry with an I.
Yep, shout out Terry with an I.
And then we started out as half siblings, same mom, different dads, that have a very let's just say strange relationship.
Yeah.
Very strange relationship. And we also are abusive and beat the shit out of each other. And give each other horrible shit all the time. And I remember one of the first times we went out to the ring, he just goes, "Hey, go along with it." Grabs me by the hair and just starts dragging me out. And he used to make me dance. There was this old man, you probably seen him, brings his own chair.
Yeah, yeah.
He just kind of laughs at us, laughs along with everything, like I'm an old man. I've seen everything. Nothing affects me. He would make me shake my butt back and forth and dance around in front of him.
What was his reaction?
He was just like laughing, like, what the hell is happening? And then we progressed to this point where he bumped me off the ring, got distracted because he's paying attention to me, sort of, and then goes, turns around, loses the match, comes out, helps me up and starts throwing me back to the ground, and then grabs me in a headlock and walks off. And the fan, that was one of the only times as a heel I've had fans get pissed about how I was getting treated. They blew up. We got followed out. We had to have our quote unquote security follow us out to keep them from getting to us or him.
So whenever I go to these shows, I don't like to let people know that I have anything to do with the wrestling business or anything like that. Only certain people know.
Here we go.
So, first off, Sam didn't even know I had anything to do with the wrestling business until I'd posted a video I had done for the local news advertising the Cape Championship Wrestling, and he saw that. I started going to the show like 6-8 months at this point, and he asked me one day after I got my ticket, he's like, "So you never told me you were in the wrestling business?" I was like, "Yeah, I tend to not tell people because I don't want to be bothered with it, and I don't want anybody here thinking I'm cherry picking their talent," which ended up still thinking I was cherry picking their talent or lack thereof. But that's neither here nor there. So I always think it's funny because if there's ever an outside spot and it comes over to where our area is, like the security guy, it runs like right over to where we're at to make sure that we don't jump in the action.
Big, tall, stupid.
Yes. And it's like, okay, dude, someone either has to let you, like, I still haven't yet, I never told the guy because I don't talk to the guy because the guy seems weirder than what I'm willing to put up with. But it's like, I don't want to explain to this guy, like, hey, if these people come out here and do anything on the floor and you're worried about their safety, probably the safest place for them to be is over here where we're at. Of like anybody else here on this front row, if they're going to do anything, you should make sure, like, have them do it here where we're at. And you stay somewhere away where the people that you should be more worried about,
which is like the entire crowd because they're idiots.
The other 98% of the crowd besides me and my buddy Shannon.
Do you guys have the 2%? Do each one of you use a percent?
Yeah, pretty much.
They will try to get involved. I've had people grab me by the hair, grab me by the arm, get in my face. That was just this Saturday. I about got into a fight because I was like, "You touch me, we're throwing down," you know.
So
a group of 3 old ladies telling me that I'm a skank. Don't care. But then they started getting into more stuff, and I was like, "All right, you guys," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "You want to talk?" And then they're like talking about how your pussy smells like fish, and I'm like, you have to be awful close to smell my pussy smells like fish. But if that was true, I wouldn't have people coming up to me telling me how good I smell every show. And stealing my perfume to spray on their stinky gear. And I got over there and they just start surrounding me. I was like, all right, I'm going to get to knock the shit out of somebody. I won't want to do that, but if someone touches me, I will. You know, common sense.
So I got to be there the infamous night when I forgot whatever the gimmick was called, because they'll have gimmick matches where they'll call it something and it's the same thing. It's a falls count anywhere match. There's no disqualifications. And they'll call it something different, and this was at the time it was Pondo and Tony were teaming against the Mercies.
Oh God.
And one of the fans got into it with the Mercy and swung on the Mercies. And that was just a train wreck in itself.
Yeah,
Tony trying to pull the fan into the ring to calm him down.
No, and then he also encouraged it. Because you remember?
He encouraged it?
Because remember, he got him into the ring, and then he started talking about how, oh, look, this fan's going to beat your ass, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, shout out to Too Tough Tony if you're listening to this.
Hey,
Even
Tony,
though
I owe you, Mr. Tough. I owe you. I have a bruise. I have bruises that are like the welts from the spanking I got on this past Saturday. I owe you.
Wow. She's calling you out, Tony. You left a bruise and she did not like it.
And he also patted me on the ass and made me go around the ring like a dog. Horse, a dog. Yeah, if you want to see that, it's on my Facebook and my Instagram.
But not on the Twitter.
No, I have Twitter, but I don't really use it.
Which is sad to me, how many people don't use Twitter like they should.
Like, I use it, and I'm just like, I get bored.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I forget I have it. And then I'll post something and get bored and forget about it again.
Someone told me the other day it's the most complex of all the social medias. And I'm like, I didn't know there was a real ranking, but okay.
I wouldn't say any of the social medias are complex.
You know, it's not like it was back in the MySpace day when you had to upload your own HTML code to get the background.
Customize everything.
Right. And now it's just like, oh.
I'm pretty sure you could still find my old MySpace.
Oh, really?
I don't even remember what it was called, but I do remember my email.
Oh, look, we're not going to talk emails with you because it's like a half-hour ordeal for you to get through your email.
No, this was a kiddie, like junior high, like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, junior high, right before we switched over to Facebook. But let's just say at that point in time.
Yeah, let's not talk about the times that everybody switched to Facebook because you're like, oh, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, I was like a junior in college.
I got my my Facebook when I was like a freshman in high school, 8th grade, freshman in high school. And, yeah. But anyway, and.
Okay, so you're now with Cash. You're doing this gimmick at SMPW.
Yes.
Now, this was at the time where me and my buddy Shannon. Shout out to Shannon. Shout out to Shannon's wife, Leanne.
Is he the one that likes me? That thinks I'm cute?
He probably does.
Or is that the other one?
Oh, you have to there's so many. I told you about some of the responses I got posting that question thing on here earlier.
Oh, goodness.
But anyways.
We have to talk about that too, because that's funny as hell.
Oh, dear God. So, we start going to, this is when we start going to the shows. But anyways, before I forget, shout out to Leanne for listening to this. This is my buddy's wife, my buddy Shannon's wife, Leanne. She's a diehard podcast listener. She's listened to every episode, and she always gives Shannon feedback. So shout out to Leanne.
Hi.
Thanks for the support. Thanks for listening. This will probably be the best episode, just because if you thought I was a train wreck on here, it's now train wreck times 2.
Because you got the trash princess, the little trash
Look at
princess.
that. The trash princess is on here. Look at that. Which you really can't because it's just a podcast and it's just us ranting and raving, and all you see is the little ad or the little picture thing. So anyways.
We're getting so sidetracked. This is going to be fun to listen to.
Yes. So anyways, once again, shout out to Leanne. Now, so this is at the time where Shannon and I come to the shows. I remember we started coming to the shows because Shannon and I would go to JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, when it would come to East St. Louis at Pops. So that was his first experience with meeting Too Tough Tony, Pondo, somebody that I don't know if we could say her name, who's now a WWE superstar.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint, yes. So
we're not going to say the name because we don't want to get
we don't want to get
us for money.
Right, exactly.
She doesn't need us to give her any more attention.
Exactly. Although, honestly, I don't even know if I could tell this story. Should I tell the story?
Which story?
So I've never told you this story, and I think there's only a handful of people that probably know this story.
Now the whole world that watches this podcast is going to know.
Okay. So should I tell it?
Yeah, I'm spilling the tea.
You're the guest. I'm going to let you tell
spill the tea. You spill the tea since I've been spilling tea.
Okay.
I'm going to get paid for it, but I don't care.
So, we were down in Union City, Tennessee for a charity show. Every year there's an Ashley McClure charity show for this young girl who died of cancer. So every year, my friend Jason, he does a show and a fundraiser for to raise money for St. Jude. And which we'll have one coming up. I believe it's November 30th in Delta. More details coming to that soon. Make sure you check out capewrestling.com for all your details. Now, this was when the show was down in Union City, Tennessee, like I was saying. And there's a bunch of guests that was booked on this show. There was Too Tough Tony was there. Isaiah was there. Somebody else was there. But it was right after that split happened. So once that split had happened, it seemed like with her, things were kind of like distant from anybody that was like with that juggalo thing. The juggalo thing.
Yeah, she even got that tattoo covered up.
Oh, I didn't know she got the tattoo covered up.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways.
She got what she needed.
Do what?
Never mind.
No, what did you say?
I said she got what she needed.
Yeah. But nonetheless, we so afterwards we all go out to eat at the Applebee's. So my advice to you, if you ever go to Union City, the only place to eat is Applebee's.
Where the wait time is long.
Exactly, because it's the only place really to eat there overnight. But anyways, so she got invited, and allegedly, we're not going to say, we can't confirm nor deny, but allegedly, because some of the people that were there, I guess she did not feel comfortable or really wanted to be associate with that crowd still outside of that show. So the rest of us go eat, and then it gets word back to the table that she'd already left and we're eating, and apparently her car broke down.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was karma. So anyways, that was just a little complete side story to everything that didn't really tie into too much of any of this.
But hey, besides, tea spilled from your side for once.
That's right, tea spilled from my side. So that means I'll probably get a nasty email from somebody or a Facebook message.
Screw them, fuck them.
True. So anyways.
Not literally, because ew.
Right, somebody else may have a problem with that as well.
Fuck them too.
Exactly.
But not literally, because skanky.
God. Anyways, so Shannon knew that I told him that Too Tough Tony was going to be there. And he's like, oh man, I remember him from Pops. He was a cool dude. Let's go see him. So we go. And of course, Tony wasn't there. So it's like, okay, whatever. So at that time I hadn't seen Cash since the Outlaw shows that were in Centralia.
I was
So,
on one of those.
was you on it? When was you on it?
I was on the one where I managed Slade.
See, I don't remember. Was it in Centralia?
Oh, it wasn't that building that they almost got the ring taken from them.
So I was at that show. I was at the one with where they had to get the ring down like super quick because the cops are coming.
That was the fastest I've ever seen a ring taken down.
Okay, so I was at that show, and I was at the very first Outlaw show.
Yeah, I was at that one. I worked it.
The very first one?
Yeah.
Then after we're done with this, I will send you the picture because I actually have the signed poster that came with the front row seating. Like I have it framed here.
I'm not on it.
You didn't sign it?
I probably signed it, but I'm not on it.
Yeah, I mean, because there was only like 3 or 4 matches announced for it on that thing, and I don't think any of the matches happened. But that's neither here nor there.
I think I did sign it. I can't remember. That was too many years ago. Too many head knockings ago.
Right. Well, I'll send you the picture of it afterwards, and you can tell me which signature is yours. So, anyways, so I go, so see Cash, and then I see you out there working with him. So, we go back to next time. And at this time, like, I'm really interested in getting Cash to CCW. So, lost my train of thought where it's going with this. So, okay, so come back the next time, and I remember it being like freezing cold in there, and that was when they had Pondo and Tony. Yeah, side note, if you ever go to SNPW in the winter, the only place that you can go to for heat is in the bathroom. So if you want to huddle around the heater while someone's in there dropping a deuce, that's all you. Otherwise, make sure you bring a hoodie.
And be prepared in the summer because it's freaking hot.
Yes, it is like 1,000 degrees in there in the summer.
Yeah, I wear pleather, like a pleather bodysuit sometimes, and I wore it Saturday. I went to take that thing off, like I was just like done, ready to go home. So I was just like, you know what? It's just a bodysuit. I'm gonna put my shorts on over it, throw my shirt over it. I want to get home because it was late. I was tired. I was pissed. I was just like, I'm ready to go home. I get home, go to take it off in there, and this was like an hour drive to get home. I take that thing off, and I'm still sweaty underneath it from like all my back is still sweaty. My boobs are still sweaty from the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, God, it was hot there.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like they can't turn the air on, or they just don't want to,
or it just doesn't do any good because the fans can't seem to keep the door shut.
Oh, that's fair. So, second time we go, that's when Cash brings you out and I meet you officially for the first time. So, met you, super cool, all that fun jazz. Do what?
Crazy.
See, here's the thing.
Loud.
Here's the thing. You say you're crazy and you say you're loud, but some of the people I've met in this business and the fans, like, I don't think you're any crazier than any of those people in that building. Maybe a different kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So anyways, so the point of the story I'm getting to is, so we came back, and then we came back a next time. And at the next time we came back,
Nova.
Oh, we got a special guest.
We got my dog barking because my dad just got home. Stop it, Nova. Please shush.
So, at this point, it's now you and how do we want to say this? Somebody's apple of somebody's eye.
My ex trash piece of shit ex, who we will not shout out because he talks shit about deathmatch wrestling, and yeah.
And now he may or may not be a deathmatch wrestler.
Or think he is.
So, anyways, so you come out at intermission, one of the couple of intermissions. If you ever miss an intermission at SNPW, don't worry, there will be a couple more.
True.
Nonetheless, so you come out, and then you introduce me to your apple of your eye at the time, your acquaintance. So you introduced me to him. He introduces, and then he starts talking. Starts talking to my buddy Shannon.
He starts talking and not knowing how to shut his stupid big mouth.
He proceeded to try to get Shannon to book him to come and work in Missouri. After you told him he's talking to the wrong person.
And I'm sitting here going, you know what I was doing, my facial expressions.
Shannon tried to tell him he's talking to the wrong person. And he still proceeds to try to get himself booked through Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
So, intermission's done. We've listened to his spill. Y'all two little sweethearts, walk to the back.
Yuck.
And I tell Shannon, I asked him, like, you gonna book him?
Would you book him if you were Booker?
I was like, you gonna book him? And we both work at the same internet company here in Cape. And he's like,
I remember this.
I don't have wrestling. I mean, I ain't gonna book him to work for me at the internet company. So, needless to say, that was the end of that endeavor. And then shortly after, the apple turned rotten.
The apple turned into an abusive piece of trash, and not the good kind of trash like me.
The bad kind,
smelly,
the rotten trash.
The rotten trash left outside in the 150-degree weather.
The Crossville trash.
No, the trash that you find at like a gas station.
Like the 2 a.m. gas station at that.
Yeah, we're after a hot day.
So, nonetheless, so we get through. So this happened and it's done. And now we're getting to the story that we were talking about earlier about Marley's infamous trip to Southeast Missouri. When I got to meet the great Terry with an I.
My mama. My also enthused to be their mama.
Yes. Your oh so enthused mother that was there. Your oh so enthused mother that was ready to leave.
Before we even got there.
Yes. And then the 6 hours out in the parking lot afterwards.
Oh my God, let's not even get into that. I was right.
Because I'm just like, I just remember being there. I'm like, okay. This has to end soon. So this is still going. So I'm not going to leave these two out here. So this has to end soon. So here's the easy solution of what to do.
I was right.
Here's the easy solution of what to do to fix this. Okay, let's not listen to Big Lee. Let's do the exact opposite and drag it out for another hour.
And cry like a little baby.
Well, of course I'm going to cry. I was ready to go home. I was tired.
Not you. You goof. We know you were there. You saw it.
Yeah, I did.
I made him bawl because I was right.
So, anyways, we're going to wrap this story up. But just know, we were there for a long time.
I was ready to go home too. I was just like, admit you're wrong. Let's go and I can go home because I have a long drive to go home.
Yeah, because I mean, this started.
Don't take it for granted that I made it like a 3.5-4 hour trip probably.
Yeah, probably a lot longer because y'all wouldn't take the highway.
Well, yeah, but I was just like, you should be like happy I surprised you and not be a fucking shit.
So I mean, well, nonetheless, just remember, I was happy that you made the trip down there.
And just keep in mind, do not screw with me and act like me putting my time into something doesn't matter. I will become the angry, fiery princess, trash princess.
I don't know. That seems like a
make you cry.
I don't know. That kind of seems like a contradiction if you think about it. The burning trash.
Hey, it's a callback to my red hair. You know what they say about redheads?
They have no soul.
Well, that.
Oh, I mean that was pretty well all I had.
We
So,
have fiery tempers.
oh, okay. Well,
And also, I'm small, so I have like not enough space for my anger.
so nonetheless, for it sounds like an exaggeration, but I would say it was probably a good solid 3.5 hours after
I
that
don't
show.
think it was that long.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was
No.
because that whole building was cleaned out, the ring was tore down, loaded up, everybody else left. So I think it was a lot longer than what you expect. I'm sure Terry will admit that it was a very long time.
Yeah, well.
So
It was a long
none,
time to her just being there.
trust me, I felt the same way she did. But nonetheless, so we get past that, we move forward, and now we're still at SNPW. You've now added a third person to your group. You've added the infamous, the legendary,
The
mad,
crazy.
the crazy, the sadistic, the Deathmatch Hall of Famer,
That taught me a lot of
Madman
how to be what
Pondo.
I am.
There you go. Madman Pondo has now been added to your faction, and
And
y'all are.
we are called Freaks or Us.
That was supposed to have a T-shirt that never happened.
Yeah, well, blame Pondo. He was the one in charge of that.
Should have went through Dell.
Or Pondo should have just gotten his shit together.
Anyways, okay. So now y'all three are together. Y'all are running Roughshot and SNPW
Basically running the place.
and selling tickets to the show.
Yeah, we were the main the hot ticket. Or at least I was. I don't know about Cash. I mean, little teenage girls always come up to me and tell me, "Your brother is so sexy. Cash is so sexy." And I'm like, "Okay. Okay."
Don't let them. Don't let her kid you. They're really going up saying, "Your buddy Pondo." That's what it was, right?
No, I don't think I ever got told that.
Oh, that just happened behind the scenes, but we're not going to talk about that. Anyways, so y'all three are running Roughshot there. Y'all are selling tickets. You know, y'all the reason that Shannon and I kept coming over there.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, y'all were the second reason.
Hey, we're more important.
No, the main reason was the Four Corners Buffet in Carmi.
Oh.
Hey, I'm telling you, wait till you go to the Carmi. You make a trip. You take Terry with an eye over to Carmi to the buffet, and you're gonna be like, man, Big Lee was right. That buffet is worth
What
it.
kind of food do they have? They just have hamburgers and stuff. I don't like hamburgers.
No, it's a buffet. So they have like fried chicken.
Do they have macaroni and cheese?
Yes.
I'm a macaroni and cheese fiend. I love macaroni and cheese. And
really?
Pizza. And pizza.
I do enjoy a good pizza.
I mean, come on, Booty by Pizza and Squats, didn't you? Don't you remember that?
I do remember that.
That's another part of my thing.
Although I don't understand it, like, I eat the pizza, it goes to the belly, it never goes to the booty.
Well, you're not doing the squat part.
Oh. That's what I missed at the Planet Fitness. That's why they had the pizza there every month.
That's why everyone's like, what do you weigh? 110 pounds? I'm like, do you look at my butt and my thighs and my legs and think I weigh 110 pounds? Bitch, you're gonna try to pick me up and you're gonna get a big old shock. I'm like, you know, like the small, I'm not gonna say the word that, because I don't know what offends them anymore with how the world is anymore, but the small, short people that make me look tall, I'm built like that. You pick them up and they're deceptively heavy.
Yeah.
I'm a dense, bottom heavy type of person.
Well, there's that. So, running Roughshot SNPW. So where are we at with everything now? So you're running Roughshot. What's going on with you and SNPW at this point in time?
I'm doing a lot of crazy shit.
Okay.
Getting thrown into pools of tax, getting hit with wiffle balls bats covered in tacks, aka Dalton hitting me in the butt with wiffle balls with tacks and swinging it like a fucking regular baseball bat. And I still do. I have scars from where I got my butt ripped open.
So, the random feud y'all had with Dalton.
The good old Dalton Diamond, Double D.
Shout out to Dalton Diamond, who's listening, who may be probably not listening to this.
Who I've also known since we were teenagers.
So.
And I had to tie his bandanas for him every show.
Really?
Yep, and I still do. Every time he comes up there, he's like, Marls, tie my bandana.
Good God. You can't teach him how to tie a bandana?
It's just easier or an excuse to be near me.
That's probably what it is.
He's a good friend, but.
So, anyways, so like these random feuds, because like y'all would feud with him for like a show, and then he'd be gone. Then y'all come back and feud with him.
Yeah. We stole his boots. Cash cut his boots off.
Dear God.
Dalton pulled me from the outside of the ring apron into a pool of tacks the first time. We stapled dollar bills to him, and I held him against the ropes.
So my question is, when you staple a dollar bill to somebody, because I'm pretty sure I'm the one that videoed that. So my question is, when you staple a dollar bill to somebody's head, who gets to keep the dollar bill?
Usually it's the person who takes it. Like, you know how many times I've had dollar bills stapled to my ass?
I don't think I've ever seen that.
You missed out then. I have one that I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't put this out into the world because it's got blood on it, and someone might think it's a crackhead's or a meth head's blood. Mm-hmm. But I'm clean as fuck. Just had a blood test. Hey.
Turn up for the clean blood test.
Yeah. Not that I had anything to worry about. But
hey, that shows you how serious wrestling is getting these days. Even if you work in a state where it's not required. Like, to me, it's a weird concept of people that are like, don't want to get blood test. Yeah, like, oh, it's just a waste or something like that. It's like, no, it's not a waste. I mean, it's safety. And then it's like, always.
I don't want your fucking blood on me if you're gonna, like, with the amount of times me and Cash have worked death matches together. Mm-hmm. And how many times I end up covered in his blood.
Yeah, I mean, you want to make sure that guy's clean.
Yeah.
So you're saying Sam doesn't require blood test?
Not that I know of. We sign a waiver, though. Every year we have to sign some stupid waiver.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, nice. I didn't.
Releasing the building from anything about if anything happens to anybody.
Oh, okay. I got you. Makes sense. Yeah. I know here in Missouri, the only real waiver you have besides the blood work and all that is women have to sign a pregnancy waiver.
Oh, I know. I saw that when I was thinking about getting my Missouri license.
Because
I'm on birth control. I'm not a hoe screwing around.
So I thought it was a rib at first from the commissioner.
Nope, it's not.
And one of our super shows, we brought in this lady by the name of Thunder Rosa.
I like her. She's sweet.
She's awesome. She's amazing.
Shout out to her, even though she probably doesn't even remember who I am.
Right. Shout out to Thunder Rosa. If you're listening to this, or if you get randomly tagged in it on Twitter and you have to listen to it to see where we shout out. But anyways, we'll shout out to Thunder Rosa listening to this. It's pretty cool. She follows me on Twitter. I'm excited. But anyways, so the commissioner's like, hey, you need to go give this to her. And I thought he was trying to pull a rib on me because I'm like, wait, what? And I go and I see my buddy Jason, and I'm like, dude, you ain't gonna believe the rib that they're trying to pull on me. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, commissioner dude wants me to go to Thunder Rosa and give her this. It's like, what is it? It's like some pregnancy waiver. He's like, yeah, that's not a rib. All the women have to sign that. I was like, oh, wow. Well, okay.
And with how shaped she is, I don't think she has anything to worry about with her.
Exactly.
That girl is a beast.
She's a beast in the ring, but one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
So is Lucy Mendez. Remember her?
I do not.
You are a horrible person. You need to know who she is, too.
Wait, I feel like it's two separate things. Like, A, I'm a horrible person, and B, I need to know who this is.
Yeah, you're a horrible person for not knowing who she is. She's like a sweetheart and an awesome worker. Like,
Where's she?
usually,
Where's she out of?
oh, you're asking me questions I don't know. I don't know where everyone's out of. You know this. I'm not a booker. That's not my area of expertise.
Because I'm thinking, I'm like, should I know her?
I have a feeling I'm getting all these Facebook notifications popping up. I think people are finally starting to are leaving questions now after we're like, what, 2 hours in?
Yeah, 2 hours in, actually an hour, whatchamacallit, an hour of actually recording.
But yeah.
Well, one of them, I know the guy. We'll get to questions here in a second. But anyways, so back to where we're at in the timeline of Marley Knox here. So, running roughshod, SMPW with Cash and Pondo. And just like Motley Crue said, all bad things must come to an end.
Yep.
So walk us through the demise of Freaks R Us.
So we had won the tag team titles, had them for God knows how long, a long time. And basically we were doing it Freebird style. I was also a tag team champion.
Okay.
You know, anyone can defend it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look at me dropping knowledge that people will probably think, oh, she's too young to know that shit. Hey, I watched the Fabulous Freebirds. I know the song. I know all that. I love wrestling. I watch a lot of old wrestling.
Okay.
But anyway. And we finally lose the titles. Who did we lose them to? I don't even remember now.
This is really bad because, I mean, there's not that many tag teams there.
And it's just me not caring enough to care, remember? Oh, it was Mario and Xavier.
Oh, yeah, the stripper dude.
Yeah, him. There's another Robert Young comment.
Oh, shout out to Robert Young, man. He listens to this. We call him Bob. His name's Bob.
But, he's commented like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah, dude's super cool. He's a big supporter of the podcast. And he'll actually be at Southern Sickness as well once we get to that there. He's excited. It's his first.
Working up to the build-up.
Working up to the build-up. So anyways, it's actually going to be his first deathmatch tournament. He's going to be. It's actually kind of a cool thing. It's his first deathmatch tournament, but he's taking his kid with him so they can have family bonding time at the deathmatch tournament.
Oh, look at that! That's gonna be interesting.
You know,
family bonding time. Hopefully, he doesn't have he's still married to the person or with the person that he's with, because you're gonna lose some custody issues for a while.
No, I mean the kid's like 18 and has.
Then no, never mind. The kid will probably enjoy it then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Will I have another person in love with me?
Do what now?
Will I have another person in love with me after this show?
Well, I thought you told me every show you go to, people are always in love with you.
Well, yeah, but this is another person that I probably actually will talk to.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, hey, you know, we'll get to that as well, because I seen somebody shouted you out for how good you did this past weekend at that show. But we'll get to that in a second. So, let's wrap up this SMPW here. So, y'all split, you dropped the belts.
We lost the titles, and Pondo goes all roughshod on us and starts beating down on Cash. And me being me, I'm like, you're not going to fuck with my people. You know, you're not. Like, you were a person I would have helped, but now you're fucking with Cash. You don't fuck with Cash. You know? Like, you don't. When I'm there, at least. And I jump up on the ring, get his attention, flip him off, and he gets that, you know, the Pondo.
Right.
He talks like this, gets all mad, comes up to me, grabs by the hair. I turn around and I jump off the ring, you know, pull his neck onto the ropes, and this butt gets my hair in his hands and between the ropes and his stomach, and I lose a huge clump of hair. There's video footage of that. I didn't even feel it. Like, I didn't even know it happened until fans were like, Marley, your hair. And I turn around as a huge chunk of hair. Like, I'm telling you, I had like a spot. Like, luckily it was underneath some layers of hair. So I had like a bald spot the size of a small potato for like a month. It grew out, but it grew out. Thank God. I didn't have like a permanent bald spot. And then he pulls us into the ring, beats us down. And then he grabs me and staples me between the legs. I'm like, what the hell, Pondo?
And at that point, I remember the crowd was like a mixture. They were like, "Yay!
And,
He stapled her." And then they're like, "Boo!" Because
boo, we like Cash and Marley now.
Right, we flip flopped.
We don't know what to do. We hate them, but now we want to love them because we hate Pondo a lot.
Right.
Me and Cash at least have attractive qualities. We're funny. We're crazy and we're funny. And we constantly, you've watched us outside the ring when we're our antics during the show, during the matches. Like we'll hip bump each other, we'll smack at each other. He'll call me a whore. I'll call him and say, "Well, then what are you?" On the mic, the mic. And yeah.
So now we're set up for the Cash versus Pondo feud. Now, this is one of the things that I get very frustrated at, not just from being on the other side of the wrestling business, but also being a fan. So, like, I'm expecting, to build up the war between these two, because this has the potential to really sell some tickets, especially with them two going back and forth. And we have now the potential to see Cash Borden really get out there and with an ultra-violent style and really break out that what hadn't, like, there's been somewhat of a violence at SMPW, but now with Pondo coming out to the forefront as being like the solo heel and Cash coming out as the face, and now we're going to have this ultra-violent war that I know, like, me and Shannon and some other people had been talking about, and we're like, okay, Shannon and I, whenever we had the free time, we would go, and now these people are talking about, hey, let's all carpool and go together, let's kind of make a big ordeal out of this, and for this ultra-violent war that we're going to see in the middle of nowhere in Illinois. And what happens? There's like 2 matches and the feud's over. No ultra-violent blow-off feud. No Taipei death match. Nothing.
But Cash beats him.
Yep, he's gone from SNPW. And
the fans flip out. They get so excited that Pondo's gone. They're beating on the ring. Full on, like, the ring is shaking. And I'm like trying to move in the ring, and I'm like almost getting knocked over by how hard they're beating on this ring. Climbing up on the side of it and everything. They got pumped for that.
Yeah, and like, I just feel like there should have been something bigger with that. Don't
we all?
Well, here's the thing, and I think this is what was frustrating to me, and I think this is kind of market awareness, because whenever I look at something, and I know when, like, I talk with Jason and Ken and Jeff about some of the stuff that we do here, like, we want everything to build up to something that's not just big and entertaining, but there's a draw, and there's a wide area draw. And I feel like that's what could have happened with the Cash versus Pondo if it was built and done right to this ultra-violent war, especially considering this is now getting close to the time to where Pondo is going into the GCW Deathmatch Hall of Fame. So now that's a whole nother set of eyes that are now starting to watch Pondo, either getting back familiar with Pondo or being introduced to Pondo for the first time. And I think you're starting to see that with some of these bookings he's taking with Horror Slam and stuff like that.
Hey, I might be there too. Hey.
Uh-oh. That may be dropping a little spoiler out there for the Big Leagues listeners.
Not official like dates, but spoiler alert.
So just remember, you heard it here first on the Big Leagues World podcast. But anyways, so like this had the potential, but no, what did they do? They did it short. They didn't do the ultraviolet match. And the people that would have really been interested in maybe driving in from it were all a couple hours away in Chicago at the GCW show. So it was like he ran the blow-off match when you had a couple hours north, you had Mance Warner versus Nick Gage. So to me,
wasn't my buddy on there too? Because he's like GCW craziness.
Which buddy are we talking about?
My buddy.
Well, you're gonna have to name drop because you got a couple of buddies, and I ain't trying to put you in no hot water with saying the wrong buddy. So
Marcus Crane.
yep, Marcus Crane was there.
And since we're on an adult podcast, we could say the whole thing of his name. Well, he's got multiple different things that tie in with mine also, but he's and hoping I'm saying this right because he'll probably like slap me through a message if I get it wrong. He's the devil's big red dick.
This is true.
And he now comes out with light tubes, paint like that are red, with red balloons attached to them. And the first time I saw this, I think you sent me a picture and I about died. And I was like, Marcus, what the heck? This is great.
Yep, that was at the NGI 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good time. You should have went to that, by the way.
Well, you didn't take me with you because you're rude.
No, I believe you never said you wanted to go.
You don't want to spend time with your favorite trash princess.
You didn't say you wanted to go.
You didn't ask.
So, my friend.
If I want to go to like a GCW show, just be like, hey, I want to go. Take me with you.
I mean, considering I probably would have went, well, you'd had to probably meet me in like Effingham.
Well, that's nowhere for me. That's like an hour, half an hour, an hour for me.
So, but you should have said you wanted to go because I had no idea.
Me not want to go see death matches? Duh.
So, I mean, so now we know. Which, we're going to get into a topic like this here in a second. So, I want to briefly I'm going through my list here. And so, we've now gone through the SNPW. At this point, the blow-off happens. Some stuff happens at the building. And now they've took a hiatus running at SNPW, and they just started back recently. So, in the meantime, you make your debut at Resistance in Chicago.
Resistance with Girl Fight. Don't forget Girl Fight.
With Girl Fight, yes.
Shout out to Pondo for like thinking, yeah, this girl's crazy enough, and actually fully calling me crazy.
So shout out to Pondo for Girl Fight. So how did you get to Resistance?
Like the drive?
No, like what was the pathway of you getting on the Resistance show?
Well, I was like, there had been a long time period of that. I've been me and Pondo were talking about me coming to Girl Fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him one show. This is like one of the last shows he came to. And I look at him and I go, so when are you gonna bring me into Girl Fight? And he just looks at me and goes, whenever you're gonna come. And I said, so I was like, I want to do a death match. I want to do death matches. I'm tired of just being the girl who takes the spots but doesn't get any of the glory. Like I want to do this myself. I want to do this. It's fun. I enjoy it. I'm a weirdo that can handle all the pain. I don't care. I want to do this. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, all right, we set it up. And I end up wrestling Randy West. Shout out to Randy West. She's a fucking amazing person.
Shout out to Randy. Well, if Randy listens to this, Randy's probably like, I got no idea who this guy is.
Also, Joseph Swartz.
Now, shout out to Joseph Swartz. Probably another person who's like, I got no idea who this nutcase is on here talking. But the other person that was there that I want to give a shout out to is my homie, Amazing Maria.
I thought you were going to say Addie Starr.
I mean, I've never met Addie Starr, so...
Oh, I've got another shout out. We're full of shout outs.
All right. Well, let me finish the shout out for Miss Amazing Maria. I'm still waiting for us to get that barbecue and ice cream. Do what?
A double shout out there.
All right. So double shout out to Amazing Maria. All right. Who's your shout out to?
The one and only, the hardcore princess from Canada, Jules Malone.
Shout out to Jules Malone. She killed it at that tournament.
She is amazing, and I love her.
So
I don't say that a lot, but she's like one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my entire wrestling, everything. She's so funny.
So I have another shout out, but it's kind of a little different. So I want to shout out the homie Lenore. She actually works at the Summit Park District. She works at the front desk. She actually
met her then.
Do what?
I probably met her then.
Yeah, you probably did. She's super cool. She actually said she saw the show, y'all show. She said y'all killed it. I talked to her the other night again at NGI4, and shout out to her for bringing me that honey barbecue chicken that night. Great chicken. Shout out for that. And we'll see you soon on there. So, Resistance, your first deathmatch tournament.
Uh-huh. So I get there early. Me and Chloe, we carpooled together. It took us about 5 hours or so to get to Chicago. We get there. We're the first girls there. So we're like, us being us, we're like, we want to get some good shit for our matches. We want some good little props for our matches. We start walking around looking at props.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk in the back. And laying on the floor is a board with some styrofoam on it. And then in that board were the big old razors.
Okay.
I look at this and I'm like, I want this. In my mind, I was like, I'm taking this. I want this. I don't care. I'm going to do this. So I walk up to Pondo. I'm like, Pondo, I'm using this. And the look on Pondo's face. If you know Pondo, you know Pondo's facial expressions.
Right.
And he goes, girl, are you nuts? And I said, I'm here, aren't I? And he goes, you really want to do it? You really want that? And also, I kind of stole that from Marcus because he does that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to him for letting me steal his idea, steal his thing.
Shout out to Marcus Crade.
Because I was like, hey, I found this, and I go, can I? And I was like, I'm stealing your shit tonight. And he was there.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Did he do some commentary for that? I believe, didn't he?
Yeah, yes, he did. He didn't do commentary for my match though. But he was too sober then.
It's the downfall of us all.
Downfall of him. I love him to death.
Okay, so you go through Resistance. You go in there. Y'all kill it.
Outdo the boys, woohoo, girls.
Word on the street. Y'all outdid the guys that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I did not. Like I said, I've still not got to see the guys show that Friday because I was out at Chelsea Handler getting to meet her. Shout out to Chelsea Handler, who looked at me like I was a nutcase, but that's neither here nor there.
Because didn't you talk about wrestling or something about your shirt?
Yeah, about Schlack and Marcus Crane, the hate trash disaster. Oh. And she asked me if it was a band, and I tried to explain to her deathmatch wrestling. And she looked at me like I was crazy, and then her security got in a little closer. But what I did not know at the time is I should have did some name dropping, because I did not know at the time that she had become close to one of my good friends, my brother Jelly Roll out of Nashville. So, had I knew that, she'd probably still look at me like I was crazy for associating with him, probably just as much with deathmatch wrestling, but that's also neither here nor there.
Hey, but she associates with him too.
Hey, there you go. So, like I said, we got through Resistance Chicago. So now you have Resistance Chicago, the girl fight. You've got that buzz behind you. People are starting to talk about you on the deathmatch scene.
Mm-hmm.
I have a note here, but I'm going to skip that because I don't like the order that I wrote the note in. So now this gets us to the upcoming event, October 18th and 19th in Memphis, Tennessee, Pro Wrestling Trainwreck Southern Sickness Cup 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a 2-day, 24, not man, participants.
And an after party with death matches also. But
and after party.
My little trash princess is going to be there. Only girl out of the 24 participants.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this started out as now I don't want to get into too much of the backstage things or anything that happened.
Yeah, we're not going to skip that.
So here's what I want to say. So initially it's announced that you're in a match against this other female.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I was going to say probably I don't even know if we can say the name, but anyways, neither here nor there.
Not.
So
she doesn't deserve it.
So anyways, that person gets off of the card.
Not off the card, kicked off the card.
Professionally, we'll say she was removed from the card. and you're now in there with Neil Diamond Cutter.
Yes, I am.
So here is a fun fact coming about Neil Diamond Cutter. I've only seen Neil one time work, and that was in S&P. Well, one time live, because I seen him do VOW on demand over in I think it's like West Virginia or something. But oddly enough, if you ever see me out and about and I'm not wearing the typical long black t-shirt, I'm usually wearing either one of three wrestling shirts. My Nick Gage MDK shirt, MDK represent.
If I wouldn't totally get fucking murdered, I'd probably want to work him. People are requesting that already.
I'm going to tell you a story off there about that. My Alexa Bliss shirt or my Neil Diamond Cutter shirt. Like, I bought a Neil Diamond Cutter shirt at SNPW when he was there. Like, I felt bad because, not saying two things bad about the fans, but it does not seem like the fans there really go out, buy merchandise, and support the traveling wrestlers.
Unless you're certain guys now. We're not going to talk about them either because...
Okay. So, I bought a shirt, and I was impressed with his work, but for some reason, it constantly comes up in rotation of the shirts I wear. So I just constantly wear the Neil Diamond Cutter shirt, and it's kind of random, but hey, it works.
It's probably a Dale Chitty design, isn't it?
It probably is.
As it's that where he's part of the group that the Dale Chitty Deadly Dale friend group.
Right? The DigiArt. I think is it DigiArt, DigiDale Art,
Something like that.
Something like
I
that.
have to look. I'm bad at remembering everything.
Yeah, me too. That's why I had to make a note here. So, anyways. So we got that coming up. Said October 18th, 19th.
Yes.
Do you know your stipulation for you versus Neil?
We have a pit of roses. Yeah, I was expecting a laugh at that. A pit of roses. We got light tubes.
Okay.
We got broken glass boards. And I think there's something else, but I can't remember it right now.
Okay. So, the roses kind of like caught me off guard there.
Well, that was originally for me versus the girl because of the beauty is pain match.
Ah, okay.
But they're just gonna leave it in because that's still gonna suck.
I mean, you trying to say Neil ain't pretty?
Well, I mean,
it's okay, Neil. I think you're pretty. It's okay, buddy.
He makes me think of a hobbit.
Well, ain't he the honey badger?
Probably.
I think that's what his gimmick is.
I think it is.
Okay,
Honey badger don't give a damn. Honey badger badass.
Do what?
I said honey badger don't give a damn. Honey badger badass.
That's right.
You've seen. I was gonna say if you haven't seen that video, I would slap you through the screen.
Okay, so you're in the first round. 24 people. Tournament 2 days. The after party. That's all going to be at the High Tone in Memphis. Make sure you hit up their Facebook page. You go to the High Tone's website. You go to the Facebook page for both the High Tone and Pro Wrestling Trainwreck. Get your tickets. Shout out to JC Rotten.
Hey, JC!
I plan to have him on as a guest. I actually sent him a message the other day about it, so I need to get that squared away so we can talk some more about the Southern Sickness Cup here. And like I said, 18th, 19th, Memphis, Tennessee, High Tone. Make sure you get your tickets. I personally will be there on the 18th. I unfortunately will not be there on the 19th.
Because he's a loser.
No, because I actually, way to make the good segue there, I actually have to be back here in Cape on the 19th because I have my first convention with the Big Lee's World podcast at the Cape Fear Con at the Osage Center, where I will be there with Scout Taylor Compton from the Halloween movies and with one of my personal favorite wrestlers and childhood hero, the ECW, WCW, WWF, TNA legend, Raven.
I thought you were going to say Tommy Dreamer.
No, we had Tommy Dreamer at CCW. I think it was last year. So we had him before Sam did.
Yeah.
So we didn't cherry pick that talent from him. Like he thinks we may have cherry picked some of the other talent.
Nah, screw that.
Okay, so the what I skipped in my notes. So
Oh no. Surprise!
S
Is it?
no, it's not a surprise. I just kind of wonder where I want to tie it into things at. So SMPW, Resistance, Sickness Cup. All right. So with that, between how do I say this the right way? So between that and maybe some certain other reasons, you are starting to become almost an internet sensation of sorts. That's literally my note says internet sensation.
Oh no, here we go.
So let's talk about you becoming an internet sensation. What do you think led to you becoming an internet sensation?
Well, the booty.
The booty.
The booty. And if you haven't seen my booty, it's all over my Instagram. And then you can come in, and then you can come and subscribe to me on OnlyFans, Marley Knox. Hey. Pay the money. Show your girl some love.
Okay. So I really don't. I'm looking at these notes here like they make no sense of how the order I put them.
Makes sense.
So, with the internet sensation, so that this is going to kind of cut out, or not cut out, it's going to cut in, skip around here in my notes. So, this is going to lead to the Q&A portion of this.
Oh no, here we go. You can't hold back. You got to get out of all of the stuff that we got because I already know what some of it's going to be because I know how my people are.
Well, I'm sure your list is much bigger than mine.
Well, that means I'd have to go look at Facebook. Let's see.
Because, we'll start with some of the easier ones here. Jeff Sin, I was telling you about before we started recording. He gave you props, said you were really good this past weekend, and he'd definitely be interested in seeing you here in Missouri. Then Bob, Robert Young, shout out to Robert Young again. Let's see here. He says, what is your favorite match to date, and what is your dream match?
Like the iPad?
The iPad?
The iPad.
What do you mean the iPad?
I said I have had.
Oh, I thought you said iPad. I was like, what about the iPad?
No, nothing about iPad.
Yeah, that you've had. What's your dream match?
My favorite match so far was definitely against Randy West because it opened a lot of doors for me, and also I had so much fun. Working with someone that is as awesome as her and welcoming, and made me feel super fucking comfortable, and not like I was like a newbie. But my dream match, like in death matches or like regular matches, because
let's just do both.
Okay, let's do with regular first. Since I wrestle men and women. Women wise, let's see, who would I want to work? That's a difficult one. Oh goodness. That's making me have to think. I definitely love to work Jessica Havoc.
Okay.
Even though she'd fucking murder me, but I'd love to work Jessica Havoc because, come on. I've been watching her since I was like just starting out, like barely even before I even started training. I was watching her on the YouTubes.
Okay.
Her and Allison K, AK-47. Remember Allison K?
I remember Allison K. I was going to call her something else, but I was like, maybe there's a reason we don't call her that anymore. So, with that, he had two other questions. Where do you see women's wrestling in 5 years?
You didn't let me say my dude.
Oh,
I have, okay, the dude one's more complex because there's multiple dudes. Like, there's people requesting stuff, people they want to see me work.
Okay.
These are going to be mostly death matches because, let's be honest, I prefer death matches now that I've done them.
And I prefer to watch death matches over anything else, as you've learned.
Yes, because you don't know anybody.
Right, exactly.
Let's see. There's a list. so I did a little joke, a little poll thing on Instagram, and I was like, so who would you like to see me work? Now, and the ones I got were like, they wanted to see me get Schlack. Which I would do. Fuck it, I don't care. I'll do it. I'm not scared.
Shout out to Schlack. I tell you what, you look at Schlack, you see Schlack, how he works, and then you meet Schlack, bipolar opposite people. Schlack is Schlack is probably one of the top 5 people I've met in the business. It's like the nicest people.
Well, I can't really judge people since I'm good friends with Marcus Crane. And I've known him for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
I met him when he was the eyeliner wearing, like straightened, like emo haircut across the eye, covering one eye.
Yeah.
Lip piercing having person. The first time fun fact, okay. So the very first time I saw him, I happened to go to a UWC show that no one even probably knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, and he comes out of the curtain and he's screaming. You've probably heard it before at least once. And he has a plastic fork and he's like chasing people around with a plastic fork.
Okay.
And another, like Marcus would definitely be someone I'd like to work. Definitely. And people requested that one too. Who else did I get? I got Eric Ryan. And people would think I'm fucking nuts, and I even think so too. But I think working Nick Gage would be fucking awesome.
Shout out to the king. Shout out to the god, Nick Gage.
I love his attitude and his outlook on everything. Like when I watch his matches, I'm like, okay, this guy is badass and crazy, but the things he says to people in the crowd gets me every time.
I'm telling you, you've not lived until you've been in that crowd when Nick Gage comes out. Like it is life changing.
Like I saw some guy trying to fight him because I was watching supporting the dudes. Got to support the people that have the possibility of possibly meeting because you got to support your family, your wrestling people, and I mainly watched it because I was like, hey Marcus, I'll watch your show,
Mm-hmm.
He gave me shit about not watching certain shows, so I'm like, all right, I'll watch it,
Right.
And he comes out and this dude he starts going off trying to get in there and fight him. I'm like, you're making a mistake, buddy. Making a mistake. I mean, do you look at him and want to fuck with him? Like, really? You want to fuck with him? And
so it's one of those.
He turns around and says something about, I'll beat you so hard, your mama. Something about your mama or Phil or something. I don't remember.
So I remember my first time, like, being there live when he came out for a match. And I had the similar thought of, like, these people are nuts. What are they doing? But it's one of those things. It's like the more and more you go to the shows and you get acquainted with it, it's like people do that to get him more fired up and more.
Yeah, it makes his matches better.
Right.
Even though his matches are fucking awesome anyway. Like, I need to watch some more. Like,
you need to see him live.
Before. Well, you know what? You need to take me along. I need to meet all these people before I work with them so I don't look like a fucking sniveling little child to them. Because you know me, I look like a child when people meet me, don't I? I'm like, everyone thinks I'm like 16, 17 years old. Don't take me seriously.
I mean, it's no different than me going up and being like, oh my God, look at this Mark.
Yeah, but like, and then I forget that I'm a girl sometimes, and I'm like, I start talking to them like I'm a dude with them too, and they're like, this girl is weird. I've spent too much of my formative teenage years in a locker room of dudes.
I mean, it happens.
It ruined me for the rest of society.
Okay. So, where do you see women's wrestling in 5 years?
Wow. Oh, God. Well, we've had the women's revolution, like they called it that, But
a way to sell tickets, yeah?
I'd like to see I'm going to say what I'd like to see. I'd like to see more of I'd like to see, like, since we're talking mainstream shit, since the indie scene's already doing it, I'd like to see more mainstream on TV, big ones, let the girls wrestle the guys. Let the girls do crazy matches. Let the girls do death matches. I mean, come on. Watch the girls that are doing death matches on the indie scene, and and if you don't, you're missing out.
I agree 110%. I
One of
mean,
the
they're
best matches, one of my favorite intergender death matches was when Candice LeRae went against, who I can't remember who her partner was, but she went against the Young Bucks, and she took that super kick with the tacks on the bottom of the boot.
oh,
That was like, okay, am I crazy? Because I kind of want to do that just because it's like the reaction. Like for me, I'm like, I love the crowd reaction. It makes you feel like, holy shit, you know, like these
right.
people love it. Like you get that holy shit chant, and you're like, oh my god, what?
It's wild.
Like I did that, and then you could just like it gets louder and louder and louder,
Hmm.
and like it echoes, and you're like, this is so fucking amazing. This is why people do what they do. Like, I can only imagine being in those big old stadiums and having that happen. Like
That
thousands
adrenaline
of
rush.
people. Yeah, I got a huge adrenaline rush at girl fight. like like I was so nervous when I got out there because I was like, I'm gonna forget something, I'm gonna fuck up. But as soon as we got started, the first blood, and after the first blood was drawn, which was me, of course,
Hmm.
because I apparently am an idiot, and I got annoyed with the ref because he wasn't getting me out of the barbed wire fast enough. I just ripped it out, so now I have a Zorro-shaped kind of scar on the side of my thigh.
Oh, wow. So, the last question Bob wrote said you wrestled a lot of men. Who's gave you your best match? Who'd you click with the best in the ring?
Out of the guys I worked against,
Yes.
God, there's a lot. Like I click pretty much with all the people I work with, or even if I'm a manager, I click with
Hmm.
pretty much everybody because I could take being called a trashy or a hoe or this or that and laugh it off and just say, yeah, I am. And I'm like, some girls are like, I won't take this spot because that's demeaning or degrading or makes people laugh at me.
Right.
I'm like, I don't care. Laugh at me. I mean, come on.
It
Whatever
sells
girl,
tickets.
yeah, it sells tickets, and I know what they want to see. If I'm a heel, they want to see me get my ass beat. They want to see Too Tough Tony give me a fucking handshake welt bruise from smacking me so freaking hard in the same spot. Like I love it. I love the sport. Like it's like my passion.
Hmm.
And I know what I want to see when I watch wrestling. So I'm like, what? I'm like, these fans want to see something funny. They want to see crazy. They want to see funny. They don't care so much about the wrestling sometimes. They care about the entertainingness of it.
Exactly.
That's why it's called entertainment. We're in the business of entertainment. It's not always about, oh, it might embarrass me. Like I was a manager in a match against Brian Christopher. And rest in peace, Brian Christopher.
Rest in peace.
Freaking amazing dude. And he's like, all right, I got a spot for you. And he's like, you know how we low blowed China? He goes, I'm gonna do that to you. Then I'm gonna give you a wedgie, and then I'm gonna spank your ass. And I was just like, all right, whatever. He's like, you have nothing against that? I was like, no, it's entertainment. And he goes, oh
Right.
look. He's like, look, someone that's got the actual gets it. I'm like, yeah, I get it, because I know what I want to see.
Right.
That's why I'm picky when I watch wrestling, because I don't watch WWE too often unless there's really some wrestler that I want to watch, because I got bored.
Right. And that's
But
why I switched
now,
to deathmatch wrestling.
what?
That's why I switched to watching deathmatch
Yeah,
wrestling.
but the main wrestling I watch on TV is New Japan.
Hmm.
Like Trash Fire ex-boyfriend. I was watching it before,
Yeah.
but he really got me into it because we'd watch it all the time. Like we'd watch videos even when we weren't watching it on TV, like live.
Right.
And one of the first ones I like, and no, it's not who you think it is. One of the very first. I have to remember his name now, because they have a lot of similar names. Hiromu Takahashi was one of the very first ones I was like, oh my god, I love this guy.
Hmm.
Like he has a cat named Daryl, and it was so adorable. I'm like, I just want to meet this guy and hug him.
Do you want to meet him or the cat?
him. Like, he's adorable. And then when I was watching it, when I just got home from a show with the Trash Fire Crafty ex-boyfriend, and we walked in time to see his match, and I see him getting thrown, and he lands, and I was like, he just broke. Yeah, I was like, the first thing I think is he just broke his fucking neck. Because it wasn't him, it was the guy he wrestled. It was, what was his name? He wears a mask. I can't remember his name now. But it was not it's not. Yeah, it wasn't Jushin Thunder Liger. That guy's like super safe.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, holy shit, when that happened. Because it was like up in the air, straight down. Like, he couldn't have done anything to help it. Because it was just, and he just lands directly on his neck. And I'm like, no. Not just because he's like a wrestler I like, but I was like, that is horrible. And another guy I really freaking like, but this is going to build up to the one this is my all-time, probably my current favorite wrestler, and complete and total favorite wrestler. But if you have not watched Tetsuya Naito, you're missing out. Tranquilado.
I think the name sounds familiar.
Oh my god, he's great.
But he doesn't do light tubes.
So you have to branch it out. Come on. But then one of the things that when I tell people that shocks them the most is when is a team that I happen to have loved for a very long time, back when they were just like probably almost just starting out fully, like getting known, is the Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the Young Bucks. Like, everything they do is so entertaining. But I mean, people always are like, "Oh, which one's your favorite?" You know, everyone's like, "Who's your favorite Young Buck?"
Mine?
Yeah.
I don't know if I really have a favorite Young Buck.
Everybody has a favorite in a team. Come on.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I have a favorite. Like, they were both nice to me when I met them, but I don't really think I have a favorite.
I do.
Which one?
Who do you think? Because most people guess the complete total opposite.
Nick.
How did you get it right the first try?
Because I'm Big Lee.
But yeah, he's my favorite. It's like something about how he's like, you see him like they're both fucking amazing wrestlers, but match, like, as you watch the wrestling, he's the more subdued one.
Okay.
And then you watch as the match proceeds, and then he starts taking a beating. You see that Nick starts to get this crazy look on his expression on his face, and like his crazy eyes, and just starts going off on everybody. And I'm like, this guy is great. Like, I like this guy. Like, even if they were to ever not be the Young Bucks, like, they would do great alone. But Nick Jackson has could be like a heavyweight champion somewhere, even though he's not like heavyweight size.
Right.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching them on Impact, and when they did like that very short stint on WWE.
Yeah, I got to see them here. They came like when the NWA was still trying to be a thing before this whole Corgan deal. Like 07, 08, they actually came to Cape and did a small building. Mm-hmm. And it was actually weird because the main event was Awesome Kong versus Mischief. And it was right when they were separating. She seems very nice.
She's fucking so great. And also, okay, that segues into another wrestler. You know who Athena is, right? Well, on the Indies, she was Athena.
That's Ember Moon, right?
Yes, I met her. Like, they went and let me in the locker room for whatever reason. I'm a trainee. I'm part of it. I help out with everybody else in the back, and they wouldn't let me in the locker room. And she heard someone talking about me. And she comes out and searches me out and has to, like, shake my hand, talk to me about myself, and then hug me. And I was just like,
oh.
I was a little teenager, so it's like, so I don't sound like a little fangirl. But I was just like, this lady's so sweet.
Oh.
Like, I was like, I love this lady. Like, she was one of the ones who makes you feel like the bigger level people aren't so bad all the time. Like, meeting people that you watch and you think are amazing, and like, I wouldn't say heroes, but kind of heroes, because she's fucking Ember Moon and she's amazing. And you can all sometimes actually meet them and they aren't horrible.
Right. It surprises me. Like, it surprises me on two levels. One, that you feel like they always say don't meet your heroes, But when you meet some of these people, they're like really awesome, nice people.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them are
Trash
not
fire.
so much. Yeah.
But like
So
what made it even better was the fact that she came and searched me out to
right.
find me. And I was just like, hi. Because she's about around the same height as me.
I've only had that done one time to me, and that was for the singer of this band called Parkway Drive.
Oh, I love them.
So they were doing their last show. This was a couple years ago before they went back home to Australia. And I was waiting outside after the show to get my CD signed. And I'd got them all except the singer. And so I went back inside the venue because it was at Pops, which is a 24-hour venue in East St. Louis. And I seen the tour manager there. And I stopped him. I was like, hey, man, I have a question. He's like, yeah, man, what's up? I was like, hey, I have the CD here. Like, my mind just went blank here of the singer's name. Winston. I was like, hey, I just need Winston's signature on this. Like, I got everybody else to sign it. Is there any way, like, you could maybe get him to sign it? Or if he comes out, I can get it signed and get a picture with him. He's like, man, I'll see if he's if he's taking a shower, if he's out of the shower, and if he's free to do it. I can't promise you anything, but I'll see. He probably won't come out, but I'll see if I can get him to sign it for us. Like, okay, cool. So he goes in there, and he's probably in there for like 5 minutes. And then I see him walking out with the CD, and I'm thinking, well, okay, he at least probably signed it for me. Mm-hmm. So I'll be good with that. And then like 30 seconds after he started walking out, here comes Winston. And he's like, hey, are you the guy that sent him back here with the CD to get signed? It's like, yeah, I'm Lee. And he's like, dude, thanks for coming out, man. Thanks for buying the album. We really appreciate it. So he signs it in front of me. And then he's like, he thanks me again. I was like, hey, man, like, if it's no trouble, can I get a picture with you? He's like, dude, yeah, that's what I came out here for. So it was just awesome to me. So I'll forever be a fan of Parkway Drive just for that.
And they have great music, too.
They do. The last album was kind of iffy, but it still had some hits on it. So with that being said, I went through my list of what I've seen that people asked. So what's your list look like?
You already pretty much got all mine, I think. Let me check Instagram, though. Because some of them I'm like, boring, old, regular, usual, questions people ask. What's my favorite thing to do when not wrestling? That's the one I can answer. Might shock people that don't already know me, but I'm a huge book nerd. Like, I love reading. Love reading. That's like I do 100% of the time, basically, when I'm not doing something else. Like, that is what I do. Like, I've read like close to 200 books so far this year.
Oh, wow.
Yep. But, and just a little tidbit of fact, so in case you want to support the girl, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Those are my favorites. Like,
so you may tell you something that's really going to make you mad.
What? You haven't seen either of them?
No, I watched all the Harry Potter movies about 8 months ago.
Oh, yeah, because I told you to.
Yeah, I hated them.
Well, I can't completely fault you on that, but because the books are better, read the books. Okay, I'll give you an out. Listen to them on audio when you're driving, because the guy who does them, the voiceover he does is so good. He does different character voices.
Okay.
It's amazing.
I think the only audiobooks I have some of Corey Taylor's books, and then I have the Chelsea Handler book as well.
But you need to listen to those because they're fucking amazing.
Man, maybe on that drive to that deathmatch show,
you might get through one or two.
No, if you already have them, then you can play it. And you look over and I'll have a little headphone in. That's listening to something else. But no, honestly, it's hard for me to do the audiobooks because I tend to fall asleep.
That's why you do it when you're driving. Play it through your speaker.
Then I'm over there trying to catch myself whoa, what happened?
You won't get bored with that.
So what's else on that list there? Let's get some of them good questions. Not the other ones I was asked.
My best ones are in my inbox because they won't send them to my actual questions. Let's go through. I got a lot there. Let's see. Let me scroll through because I forget to. I save them for the occasions like this.
Okay.
Okay, where I want to be like, look at this shit. Like what these people say to me. Oh my god, I just never really told me I have it. Okay. That's not.
Because that is one of the things on my list here.
A lot of them are about asking me about my premium stuff, but. And then a guy asked me if he can get previews. Like, dude, no. You're not gonna get free shit when I'm having making everyone pay for it. Like, fuck you, no.
Isn't that the point of the Instagram?
Okay, let's see. Here's a guy. Your pictures drive me insane. You're an absolutely gorgeous girl. And then.
Was that a question?
No, but that was just something he said.
Oh.
Your pictures drive me insane. I was like, really? And then he asked me about that, and then it started so much stuff, and he says, not to sound too much like a douche, preface to being a douche, but any chance you will show having sex with your guy or masturbating? I'm like, what guy? But, I mean, I could find somebody, but stick around, you never know.
You never know. So, my note on the question here, what's the weird things that goes into the DMs? What's the weird stuff that you get sent? That people are going to hear this and get worried that they're going to be put on blast for sending it to you, and now you're repeating it.
I get a lot of, and this is pretty much daily, can I eat your asshole? And then there's, can you step on my face? I'll pay you this such amount of money to step on my face. I'll pay you such and such to kick me in the balls. I'll pay you this much to beat the shit out of me.
I mean, like, are we talking like waivers and like how much money are we talking about and how much are we traveling? Like,
yeah, right. And I'm like, either way, I don't particularly want someone's tongue there. That's kind of the thought of it's like if that's not attractive to me. The thought that that's a poop shoot,
See, I don't know. Like, to me, the concept's weird. Because in my 32 years of age, I've never thought like, oh man, I wish someone would step on my face.
Oh, I was talking about sticking their tongue in someone's butthole.
Yeah, that's...
Like, it's not something I thought, oh yeah, I want someone to do that, or I wanted to do that to somebody. Right?
That's a story for off the air. Are you like, you gotta make a note of the stories for like off the air. But anyways.
But hey, we can talk about it, say that much.
Do what?
We can say that much.
Yeah, like there's always stories. But so people want you to step on their face. People want you to lick their butt.
Let me let them do that to me.
Okay. Did they give a price tag?
Like someone, I've got $200, $300.
I mean, well, sounds like people are trying to talk a big game, or people have too much disposable income.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll stick to guys I'm actually attracted to, or girls I'm actually attracted to.
Because, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like someone to be like, I want to give $300. Like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah, homie. Like, that's kind of weird. So, with that being said, so here's the thing. This is going to actually... I want to actually use this as the advertising, or part of the advertising mechanism for this episode of the podcast.
Uh-huh.
You get all these weird DMs.
Uh-huh.
I tell people all the time, one of my favorite things to do to your post is go through and read these comments.
Oh my God, yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Or if I'm sitting at the office and a couple of my friends, I'll sit around and be like, you're going to read these comments here off the Instagram post. So,
I get a good chuckle out of them, and I'm like, what the fuck goes through your mind that you would actually comment on someone's picture that you don't know?
Because it's like, people see that. It's like, do people not care? Or are they just burners?
I'm not
It's like,
the only one seeing this.
like, because I know some people do like burner accounts, but like I'll click
Yeah.
on some of these profiles and I'll be like,
They have kids and stuff,
yeah, I'm like,
and wives or girlfriends, and I'm like, all right.
it's like, what is wrong with you people? So, anyways, with that, this is going to be one of the advertising things for it. What does someone have to do to get a date with Marley Knox?
What does someone have to do to get a date with Marley Knox?
I'm assuming not start out the DM with "Can I lick your butthole?"
And not start off the DM with a dick pic, because I will start using other one. I will take the ones I've had sent to me and send them to you. Or I will use guys I know personally that have sent me dick pics, and for that very exact reason, to embarrass them because their dick's so much smaller than theirs. You probably know who I'm talking about.
I've got an idea.
I was like, we were talking about that, and he's like, here, and I'm like, oh, thanks. And I was like, now I can send that to them and be like, hey, be embarrassed of your tiny dick. I've seen bigger.
So what does someone have to do?
Well,
See, that's a tough question.
they have to actually be interested in wrestling, and not be like, oh, you can't talk to these two other guys. I'm like, bitch, my whole entire wrestling thing is mostly dudes.
Right.
And I'm a sucker for blue eyes and nice hair. You don't have to have both. You can just have nice hair or just blue eyes. But like, those are like my things. I like longer hair.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be interested in reading, or read books yourself. But if you at least pretend or ask me, hey, what are you reading, or what's it about? Like, that helps a lot. Being interested in not just country music. Like, I am a metal fan, like heavy metal, all that. I love classic rock. I'm a huge Guns N' Roses and Pantera fan.
Mm-hmm.
And also, can't forget Motley fucking Crue.
Can't forget the Crew.
Let's not even get into how obsessed I've been since I was a child with Nikki Sixx.
I don't know. Like, I can't support something like that because I'm Team Godsmack. So,
like, I was in love with him. As a child, I have a poster I haven't put up yet of him.
I did like the first Heroin Diaries album.
Oh, that was good.
I never read the book, but
I own it. If you want to read it, I own it. It's actually entertaining. It's got drawings and sketchings, and like, he goes in on people, and other people go in on about other people too.
So, be interested in books or fake it. Have either nice hair, blue eyes, or both. Like classic rock, and you said
metal.
heavy metal. Like, what do you classify as heavy metal?
Well, I also like metalcore, but like I said, I'm a huge Metallica fan. I love Slayer, Marilyn Manson,
But not Marilyn Manson dust.
huh?
So, in the late 90s, there was a
See,
time.
I was born in '94, bro.
I was going to say, in the late 90s, there was
out the womb.
Pretty much, yeah. So there was a time when Goldust did the character of Marilyn Manson dust.
Oh, good lord! I'm gonna have to look this up. Is this available anywhere I can see this?
I'm sure it's available on a popular streaming wrestling network.
Speaking of Goldust, I remember as a kid, you know how he did that ha thing?
Yeah.
Clacked his teeth together. He wasn't like a wrestler I was like a big fan of or anything, but I would always do that, run around the house going at people.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I was like, that's an annoying noise. I'm going to do that to people.
Okay. So.
I was an odd child. Still, I'm an odd person.
So, metalcore, new metal, classic rock type of person.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are the keys.
Not all of them, though.
We mean not. Okay, well, what else is there?
Let's see. I don't like to sound like rat because I'm not.
You don't like what?
I don't like want to sound like a rat because I'm not
Okay.
a ring rat, but like it helps a lot if you're like involved in the sport I do. Because like I
Mm-hmm.
can't bounce off my frustrations or talk about something I'm really fucking excited about to someone who doesn't get it.
Right.
Like if you're in a relationship with somebody or love that I've never had that, but it's nice to be able to have something in common like that and have something
Exactly.
same thing you're passionate about.
That's fair.
That's a big thing. Like I've had a hard time. Like I've literally have tried trying like being interested in guys outside of wrestling or dating guys outside of wrestling, and they just beat down wrestling and they said don't like I think I'm cheating on them constantly, or we're not even dating and they think I'm cheating on them. Or I also have that issue that guys, I'm the type of person that's apparently I attract the people that are gonna get like quickly obsessed with me and tell me they love me. That's another one. Remember me telling you about that guy.
Mm-hmm.
The same one I came to Cape to visit.
Yep. Yep.
In love with me before, like in love with me, like loved me, like.
Yep.
Which I mean, I guess it's a sweet sentiment, but I'm like, is love even a real thing?
It's not.
It's like
It's a gimmick.
I forget what show I saw it on, but it's like, oh, it was Rick and Morty. Love is just a chemical in your brain. It's for, and also it's a combination of another thing I watched too. It's just something for reproduction. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are. We're mammals. That's what it's all about, reproduction. If I can find someone that I enjoy spending time around, that's what that matters. Like if I can spend time around you, not like my number one thing is about the relationships is I have to be able to want to spend time around you, not watching it TV, just not even have to be talking, just being there around a person and actually want to be around that person, not getting bored. That's an important thing.
So there
That's
you
another
go.
thing. Cuddling is important. And also,
Cuddling's an important thing, but it's got to be with the person that's like got to understand that you cuddle, but you don't turn the fans off.
No, oh my god.
I had an ex that she
you told me
always
that.
like if you would cuddle, like she turned the fans off. Like she's like, it's too cold. It's like if you want to cuddle, we're gonna have to have a fan, or
For
we
me,
ain't gonna
it's not
cuddle.
even just the fan. Like I have to have a fan on, but it's like I can't sleep in total silence.
Right.
But I have to have that sound. Like sometimes I'll have 2 and 3 fans going, even when it's winter, because the noise, like it drowns out everything else, and I'm in this dark little area by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm big on the cuddling stuff. But also, from my previous ex, if you're gonna come around, especially after you've worked a fucking show, come to my house and want to sleep in my bed, don't say, "Oh, I don't need a shower," when I offer you a shower 3-4 times. Like, are you sure you don't want to take a shower? Because that's gross, and you're thinking you want to have any side of physicalness with me, and you think I'm gonna want that. I don't know what guy you just wrestled. I don't want your sweat. I don't want their sweat. That's a good way to catch lots of different things. And I'm a clean bitch.
It's amazing to me, like in this generation, the lack of showering that people have.
There's times I just love showers anyway because I'm weird. I like hot water, like really, 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 really hot water. Sometimes I'll take showers multiple times a day just to sit in the water because I can like think.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I've always been like that. It's weird, but that's my thing. Like showers. I've never really been a bath person. Like I'm like, I'll try it because I'm like, yeah, I will relax my muscles, and I just lay there and I'm like, my shoulders start to get cold. I can't read a book if I slide down in the water far enough to get all the way to my shoulders down. I like sticking my book in the water, and I'm protective of my books. So it's just like.
Well, one, being 6 foot tall, it makes it kind of hard for the whole bath thing. But 2, I can't sit still that long. Because I'm like
the Doge.
The what?
Oh, the Doge. She's coming. She's like sniffing the phone.
Aw.
Do you hear her like licking my face?
I do now.
Get up here, seal pup. Come on, Nova. Get on the bed. I know you want to sleep.
Okay, so for y'all listening to this, y'all got another Big Lee's World exclusive on how to get a first date or make headways with Miss Marley Knox. So I expect an update on this to see how well, if anybody actually tried this, and how well it worked out for them.
Oh, I already tell you about everything anyway.
So if I get to Memphis on the 18th, and I'm there with like 20 people that's there with either got long hair, blue eyes, and they're like 90s metal t-shirt, all carrying a book with them, I'm going to be like, y'all owe me a cash tip because I got y'all those details that y'all couldn't get besides sending stupid DMs like, let me lick your butthole.
You don't know how to ask me, like, talk to me like I'm a human being.
Exactly.
I don't want your dick pics. I don't want you saying things like, you gotta build up to get the shit like that. Like, I don't want your dick pics. Like, sorry, they look like overgrown earthworms. Like, if I have to, I'll be around them in person.
Or some a little smoky. Am I supposed to say that?
That's funny. I was laughing.
Okay, so we're going to move on here, do a little name association thoughts. We kind of covered some of these throughout this trip we've been on here tonight. So,
I would call it a trip.
Do what?
I would call it a trip, like the good kind of acid trip when you're like not tripping balls, like completely like everything's freaking out and you feel like you're like aliens are coming to get you.
The good vibes only, which is like, I don't really know. Like, you can't see it, but I'm just like sitting here with my hands like waving them around like I'm just floating in the chair, which has no reason why.
I talk with my hands all the time, even when I'm talking on the phone. So I'm like,
it's a bad habit to try to break. I feel like it's a bad habit.
Trying to say like this and trying to like describe the size of something or like, and I'll be like, wait, you can't fucking see what I'm showing you. Like, that's why I like video chat.
Oh, really?
Like, that's a good way if you have like a long distance relationship. With most of my relationships have been long distance, is video chat. That's another key with me. Video chatting. Like,
see,
I've done that multiple times.
My problem with video chatting is, like, I tend to, like, if I sit too long and do something, like, I get sidetracked, start doing something else. So it's like, if I'm video chatting with somebody, then they can look and see that, oh, wait, he's got another device over here. He's reading emails or writing emails or going through spree.
Like, if you're interesting enough for me, I'm not going to get distracted. Or I might start, like, saying, like, hey, you need to see this, or you need to listen to this, or this, or that. Like, I'm big on sharing my music. Like, I used to make mixed CDs for people. Like, my younger cousin, I made her a huge shoebox full of mixed CDs for Christmas one year.
Oh, wow.
And I even, like, made personalized, covers for them and wrote down on the back, I made all the songs that were on them and everything. Like, I made, like, at least 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, I know that's not a big thing anymore, but I like that's a good way to get to know somebody, is sharing your music taste.
So, I bought a new car earlier this year, and one of the things with it was it didn't have a CD player in it. Everything's through the CarPlay and hooking your phone up. Yeah. Which at first I was like, oh, that's cool. But, like, a couple weeks after having it, it's like, man, I miss having that CD player.
Yeah.
So, with that, like I said, we're going to do some name association, some thoughts. I'm going to throw some names out there, some items, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And I want you to give me your thoughts. Give me some feedback, initial thoughts. No need to think about it. Just rolls what's off the tongue. So let's see how many hate letters this is going to get us. So first things first, Cash Borden.
Brother. Yeah. Even if we argue and shit and I want to beat the shit out of him, he's my brother. Okay.
That seems fair. Pondo.
Pondo, what do I associate with Pondo? Lots of stories. And playing this game where you make a baseball fly and try to make it go far distance as possible. Yeah.
Wait, what?
He had this, like, that was what I associate with Pondos, because he was in locker rooms, we would sit there the whole time and we'd have stories and stories and stories, and he'd tell me stuff and I'd tell him stories. But the whole time he'd somehow be ready to have a full conversation, telling stories, but playing this game where you're making a baseball fly and you're trying to make it go as far as possible.
Okay. Sam Cosby.
Food, like this concessions.
Food.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know. That's about all I got.
That's all you
That
got?
won't get me in trouble.
That won't get you in trouble. Okay. That seems fair. Not too much of the tea being spilled there.
Yeah, that like I've already done too much tea spilling there. I've already been in trouble too many times because I'm a tea spiller.
I'll get next show I go to there. They'll have a picture up that says this guy's not welcome back. Well, hopefully if they do that, if you find out they're going to put the picture up, say don't let this guy back in, make sure it's the cover of the podcast and not me, so at least you get some kind of advertisement that way out of it. So, Dalton Diamond.
Bandanas and always making me laugh and call me Lil Marls because he just messaged me a little bit ago. Lil Marls. That's what he does. I'll gonna try to do my best Dalton voice because I've known him forever. Like I'll tell you a little bit of backstory. So I used to. This is illegal as fuck, but we used to have like when my second ex-boyfriend, it'd be him, Tony Flood, his ex, Zach Sawyers, Dalton Diamond, and me in a car. That's a lot. That's too many people in a car, right?
Kind of.
Oh, and sometimes we have this boy that was Kyle Sykes. I don't even know if he still wrestle anymore, so it'd be all of us there. And he'd sit in the back seat. Him and Zach would go, Miss Squid, Miss Squid.
What?
Miss Squid. And then he'd go, Dalton go, I'm not going to use my real name. I'm not going to give out my real name on this. Anyway, and now he'll go, Little Marls, Little Marls, Marls Barkley, Marls. What's he doing, Marls? You're my buddy, Marls.
Well, there's that. I thought it was bad. Anytime he messages me, he always starts it out with, "Hey, sexy Lee."
Yeah, for every person, it seems like he has a certain thing he calls them.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay. But I think it's always a rib because whenever we went down to that Evansville deal, I told every person that would listen to me that he was a famous international deathmatch wrestler, and I'd pull up a video of him at SNPW, and they would just look like, I don't know who had a weirder look on their face, them actually believing it, or Dalton ready to kill me because I was getting all these people to go talk to him.
I know Dalton all too well to know that face. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
And he's got that lip. He's got this face like, look. Yeah, we're close enough. I can give him shit.
That's fair enough. He deserves it too.
Yeah, he gives me shit, but he knows not to take it too far with me because we're buddies. So I beat the shit out of him.
I need to see this.
It's a playful beating the shit out of him, but a little known fact, probably get me in trouble since his baby mama girlfriend doesn't. Oh, well, doubt she'll watch it, but listen to it, whatever you want to say. But I can't tell you how many times when we were teenagers, but he asked me out.
Aw. That's cute.
But we've grown. He's grown past that.
Hey, you never know. He could have been your soulmate.
I don't think so.
Dalton Diamond and Lil Mars.
Marls, not a
Mars.
I'm not a Mars bar.
Little Marls.
And another little play on that. Cash is the one that started that. He called me Marls, or his favorite thing is Mars Barkley, like Charles Barkley, basketball player. Yeah, he'd go Mars Barkley.
Jesus. All right. SNPW roster.
Dumpster fire. Half of it is a dumpster fire.
What's the other half?
The good people. You got, okay, I'm going to shout out a couple people besides the ones I've already shouted out. We're going to start out with a shout out to my dude, my buddy, my personality twin, basically almost, or attitude twin, Chase Nally. And then we've also got two other fellow members of IMD, 3 actually. You got Chad Rockman, who threw me out of the ring 2 shows ago. And you got DD Jinx, who makes me laugh. His laugh always makes me laugh. And then you got the guy, one of my favorite referees, and the guy who always manages to pop my back for me because, as we all know, I have a horrible back that like needs popped all the time. Max Recon. And then is there anybody else?
A lot of times he seems like he gets a bigger reaction from the crowd than a lot of the wrestlers.
Not so much anymore, but and then there's my buddies, the buddies you haven't seen yet because you're missing shit. The Burklow tongue tied. The Burklow brothers. They're the current SMPW Tag Team Champions. We have a little hand gesture that we do. You know, like the little rascals things where they put the hand into the chin and do that. They move their fingers.
Yeah.
We do that. Like we'll do that. That's our hand thing before when we get there, and multiple times throughout the show, we'll do that, and then we'll touch our fingers while we do it. All with both of them. They're crazy. Not like as crazy as like type of like wrestling wise, but like the crowd reaction is crazy.
Mm-hmm. All right. SNPW fans.
Toothless. Boobs that hang down to their waist. Children that need supervision. We're not a babysitter. And smelly. And stupid. They flush toilet paper down the toilet after it says like 5 different times throughout the different place and in each stall. Don't flush toilet paper.
No holding back on that one there.
Nope.
All right. So I had to find a way to get this one in here because I know you kind of want to speak on this. You may not want to. And I feel like this may get some heat for both of us asking this question.
Uh-huh.
So, what are your thoughts on the SNPW women's division or lack thereof?
What are you talking about, lack thereof? I'm the only one, basically. We got a bunch of girls, a couple new girls. There's one girl, I'll shout her out because I fucking love her. She's a sweetheart, and she has so much potential, and I just love her. She's like my personality twin also, like, but the bubbly side. Maddie Lee Exodus, fucking love her. Great girl. Sweetheart. Hilarious. But the rest of them, yeah. Unsafe is a good word for one of them, the one I just recently worked. If you're gonna forearm me, no, here's the thing. Forearms are a very simple thing. It's the forearm. That's why it's called the forearm. You do not want to hit me as hard as you can with the tip of your elbow to my temple.
Well, that's not safe.
That's rage. Like, I've discussed it with a couple different guys to kind of see, like, am I just being overly, annoyed? They're all like, no, I would beat the shit out of somebody for it.
Fair enough. Anything else you want to put on the women's division?
Can I say something about myself?
Go ahead.
There's something
the podcast is featuring you, so you can talk about whatever you want.
Myself as a SNPW woman, I'd like to not be treated like I cannot work the men. Or that
because a lot of them can't work at all.
I don't really have much fear. And a lot of guys have asked, hey, when can we work Marley? When can we work Marley? I want to work Marley. I want to work Marley. Until I'll be like, So that's something that annoys me. Like,
so if you're listening to this and you want to see Marley work these people, you want to see her get more in-ring time, more spots, message management at Strictly Insane Pro Wrestling. Message their social medias and tell them you want to see more Marley Knox.
Let him know, because they don't believe me. They think they tend to think I'm a little bit more of just eye candy.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've clearly proved I'm not. But yeah.
So with
let them know.
With that being said, what is the future of Marley Knox?
Oh, the future of Marley Knox. I think the major future is doing more deathmatch wrestling, trying to get my name out there more. I want to work, even if it makes me sound stupid. I want to work all of the dudes that people are like, he's good, he's good, he's good. I want to learn from these guys, so I want to work as many people as possible that I've listed and some that I haven't listed. And there's a lot of women I'd love to work that I probably never will because they're signed places. But one of my top women I also like to work that's signed somewhere that I don't have the possibility of working with her, Candice LeRae.
She's on the NXT, right?
Yep.
Okay.
With her main husband, Johnny Gargano.
Ah, yeah. I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's good. I've met him.
Yeah, that was kind of a time in indie wrestling where I was kind of out of it.
Yeah. Oh, that brings up another guy I'm a really big fan of. And I never mentioned my favorite guy on New Japan. Like, I was saving it and never said it.
All right, go ahead.
Jay White. Jay White is the all-time favorite. Like on there, like
the Switchblade.
The Switchblade Jay White. Breathe the Switchblade. Sounding like a mark over here. But yeah, he's so good. Like, hey, you got if you're wrestling, you got to appreciate wrestling, at least some wrestling.
Yeah.
I prefer doing deathmatch wrestling, but watching wrestling, he's one of my favorite ones to watch.
Okay. So you gonna try to get booked in Japan and go work him?
I don't know if I'd want to do that style of wrestling. I'd love to be able to eventually, if that could ever be a possibility, work my way up and go do death matches in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that'd be like an ultimate dream right there.
Go
or
over,
just to wrestle in Japan in general.
Go over and work Freedoms with Takeda.
Mm-hmm.
I gotcha.
I'd love to work Stardom also. Eventually, I'll get good enough to work Stardom.
That's where Session Moth works, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And Bea Priestley was there before she got signed. That's another one of my favorite female wrestlers, Bea Priestley.
I'm trying to think if I have like a list of favorite female wrestlers.
I usually don't, but the more I'm watching like out of the country wrestling, the more I get people that I like. Not to hate on the girls in America. I love Priscilla Kelly.
I was going to say that's probably my number one.
She is someone that I'm like, I don't care. Work her. I could see her being someone I could work with.
And she's such a sweetheart.
Not that she'd probably want to work with me or like team with me ever, but that'd be someone I could see being like a perfect tag team partner with me because we seem to have like a similar style.
Well, maybe you should talk to the Booker man and see about getting y'all two as a tag team in SMPW.
Yeah, like he'd pay the money for that.
Hey, you never know. I've seen some big talent come through there. All right, so that's the future. Now, for those of you listening to this, you probably already know this information. And for some of y'all listening to be like, okay, Marley seems like a cool lady. I want to follow her. I want to find out more. Where can everybody follow you at?
On Facebook. Talking too much. Marley Knox, MarliKnox. Instagram is Little Trash Princess, LIL, and I hope you know how to spell trash and princess. And then I've also have TikTok. I make the videos, having fun. It's amazing. It's fun, and that's Little Trashy Princess with the LIL there too.
Still didn't plug the Twitter.
And the Twitter, I don't even know the name of my Twitter. Oh, isn't it like trash dumpster trash?
Well, let's see here. I tagged you in a post earlier when we started promoting this. So let's see here.
I think it's something like that. I haven't used it in a while.
Little garbage pail.
Yeah, there it is. Because I couldn't get Trash Princess. Because I'm already used it. And it wasn't me.
Should have messaged them, been like, hey, let me get that Twitter handle.
I won't pay you, but give it to me. It's my thing. I should get that trademarked. Is that possible?
Yeah, I don't think you can lose the Twitter handle because I don't think you can.
No, I mean just trademark Little Trash Princess in general.
I'm sure you can. You can trademark just about anything.
Because, like, I feel like that's like when I came up with that, I was like, holy shit, I think I just came up with something that actually hasn't been done.
Mm-hmm.
Because how I figure stuff like that is if I go on Instagram and I put hashtag Little Trash Princess, nothing pops up except me.
Yeah, I think you could probably trademark it.
I got to get that figured out. Oh yeah, I should probably plug that I'm gonna have T-shirts.
Yeah. So where can people get T-shirts at?
Well, I'm gonna eventually try to look into getting it set up on the pro wrestling tees. Just haven't gotten around to that yet. But wrestling shows, or once they come out, if it's not too horribly bad shipping, I might send them out personally. It's in some personalization stuff. Who knows? Depends on how I'm feeling that day
So when am I gonna get my shirt?
when it's made.
Are you gonna have it by the Southern Sickness?
I'm hoping. Who I will just watch. If I don't get them done, I'll just at least get one done and bring you a special one, so you'll be the only person in the crowd with it. But I want to because I feel like that'd be a good selling place for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's good about it is you'll have a lot of out of towners. People are willing to travel, so they're willing to buy merch.
Yeah, and they have the money.
Right. Versus maybe, I don't know, like I don't have the best of opinions of Memphis wrestling in general, just for the shows I've been to around there. So it's just kind of like, So I think with it, like that was kind of my big holdup with, like I've not been to one of JC's shows yet. One, because it's always on a Friday, and time I get off work, because Cape's like a little less than 2.5 hours from Memphis. So it's a little bit rougher to make a Friday night show when I don't get off work till 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Oh, and speaking of JC and his dad, there's also a possibility you might see your girl at Ida Bay Mid-South someday.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Another potential spoiler here. It's not a spoiler, is it? It's like breaking news.
It's
spoiler.
More like a possible, like little teaser that something might happen. Like, hey, watch out for it. You never know.
So when it happens, remember you heard it first here on Big Lee's World.
Yep.
So, but those are not the only things you have to plug, correct?
No, it's not.
Okay.
If you've ever heard of the thing called, I just lost the name of it. Oh my God. OnlyFans. I have an OnlyFans account that you can see a deeper side of a bigger, deeper, open picture of what is Marley Knox.
So if you've not heard of Open or OnlyFans, don't feel bad because it had to be explained to me.
But yeah, you'll just search Marley Knox, or if you can't find it, get a hold of me and I'll get the link and send it to you. It's not free, and also don't be an asshole and ask for free for like little teasers and shit. Like, no, I'm not gonna give you free shit. You ain't my boyfriend. You ain't my girlfriend. You're not getting pictures of me naked. Free.
So if you want the teaser, check out the Instagram.
That's a teaser. Yep.
So what else you have in there besides the OnlyFans?
Isn't that? I think that's all I have.
Are you not doing the Snapchat thing?
No, that became an issue. People thought they could just ignore the fact when I send them payment requests.
Oh, I thought it was when you posted to the wrong Snapchat.
No, that I don't give a shit about. Fuck, I don't care. I'll flash my titties. I don't care.
So it was funny. So I was trying to watch a movie, and the movie had just finished, and I forgot that I had the TV, like the phone paired to the TV. So, like, I open up Snapchat, and like I was clicking on the story alerts. So I go through the first, like, one of my buddy's story, like, and I saw it on the TV, like, pop up. And I was just like, oh, it's a picture of his kids, they're having dinner or whatever, so I just click next. And then it's somebody else, and I just kept clicking next through it to get rid of the notification. And then I clicked on it, which was yours, and there was this very loud noise that popped up. And I was like, what is that noise on here? And then I guess my mind blanked because I looked at the phone and couldn't see it. So then I look up on the TV, and there you are, just like dancing on the TV. And I was like,
hello.
Why she put that there?
You know what happened was.
Why is the music so loud?
What happened was, you know how the save button is next to the send button?
Yeah.
I hit send instead of save by accident because I was trying to film more while I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to log out. I'm like, whatever Snapchat I'm on, I'm going to save it, you know? But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, no biggie.
You gotta learn about app cloning.
Well, I don't need it now. I don't use the other Snapchat. I deleted it completely.
So there's no more premium Snapchat. It's only
if you want to see it, OnlyFans is the place to be.
So onlyfans.com/Marley Knox.
Mm-hmm.
And they can subscribe there.
Yes.
And if they have any issues with it, they can reach out to you.
With any issues with finding it, just get a hold of me. Instagram, Facebook Messenger, and I'll get the link and send it to you.
But don't be creepy about it.
But don't be creepy about it. Don't ask, like I said, don't ask for free pics. Like, no.
Or better yet, don't even send a message about it. Just read the other post and get the link from there.
That too.
Easy enough. Alrighty. So with that being said, and for the people listening to this, like, good God, these people keep talking and talking. So with that being said, I want to thank you for being a guest tonight on the Big Leagues World podcast. Make sure to check her out. Check everybody out. October 18th and 19th at the Southern Sickness Cup in Memphis. Make sure you hit them at the High Tone, which I'm excited. I've never been to the High Tone.
Neither have I.
I think it's the only venue in Memphis I've not been to. So there's that. Make sure to hit up her on all of her socials. Make sure to hit up that onlyfans.com/Marley Knox to get that backstage story. Get them pics that you keep creepingly ask about in the comments, the posts for free. Come off that little cheddar and get it right then and there. Yeah. Make sure that you don't look like a creeper. So how is that built out? So like, does it show up weird on like? So can people do it without their significant other finding out?
I think so. I've never had anyone say anything about it.
So look at that. So you can even do it and get by with not being caught by your significant other looking at it, or maybe you show it to your significant other and they're into it as well.
Yeah.
So with that said, once again, thanks for joining us tonight on the Big Leagues World podcast. As always, got any questions, comments, concerns, shoot an email to bigleaguesworld@gmail.com. Hit us up on the Facebook at facebook.com/bigleaguesworld. Twitter, Instagram @bigleague756. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this podcast. I appreciate all the love and support. And make sure as well, October 19th, if you're in the Cape Girardeau area, make sure to come out to Cape FearCon at the Osage Center. Come out, see me, take a pic. I'll sign whatever you have. Come out, see me. Come out, see Scout Taylor Compton from Halloween. Come out, see wrestling legend Raven as well. And coming soon, we're actually going to have the promoter on here for that show, as well as we're going to try to get JC on here before the actual Southern Sickness Cup as well. So once again, thanks everybody for listening. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.